live. Okay, it thinks we're live. Did I go here? There we go. Now.
Hey.
Oh, brilliant.
Win?
Yes.
We're live?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, we are. We are. We're live.
Look at that.
Bam. Smashed it.
That's some part I learned how to do
Boom.
this.
Hello, everybody. How's it cracking? How's it smacking? Ryan, how are you doing?
I'm doing alright. Doing alright.
Oh, now I never mention this, of course. I'm colourblind. Are we wearing the same colour? No, we're not. We're not. Oh, I will mute whatever's just... Oh, it's on my phone. I don't know how to mute on my phone, so that's great.
I'm enjoying the fact that this has the same high quality vibes as 20.5.
Well, not quite that high. No, not quite that high, I think.
Your camera hasn't fallen over yet, though, so that's the next stage.
It's on a tripod. Have you tried a tripod?
Yeah.
I think you've just tried, like, a bungee cord for the...
It was actually... So the first one was blue tacked. I needed a tripod and managed to knock it over.
Okay, yeah. I saw.
Third time, we're going to nail the format. Jason and I are going to sort it out.
Yeah?
We'll see.
Oh, great. I look forward to it once you've... I was about to make a joke about how you're, like, testing on...
Testing live.
Yeah, but like... Yeah, so do I. Is that mango Pepsi? No. This is Pepsi Max without caffeine. So, this is... I don't know what that means it is. It's just black liquid. Black fizziness. I don't know. However, does it help with kill team? Yes, actually. Because this is pointless. As is kill team and life. So it really gets me in the mindset.
Wow. Wow. What a way to start the stream. Kill team's
Give it a
pointless,
heart.
life is pointless.
Give it a heart. Give it a party emote. There you go.
I think you need some mango Pepsi, guys. Can we get a glass of mango Pepsi?
Yeah.
Sooner rather than later. I've got some squashies if you want them.
Didn't the second time start mid-sentence? Gin of the sheep asks. That was your thing, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But that's
sounds
fine.
about
Right. We call that on media res. It's an artistic choice. Thank you.
That's going to be the excuse for everything from now on. It's my artistic choice to be low quality and bad. And
it's a style.
As Chris says, I'm not open to criticism on it. So
I
don't want to hear your feedback.
Nice.
I'm happy as is.
So, just on the off chance people do not know, Ryan here is from Turning Point Tactics. There you go. That if you don't know, that's another Kill Team channel. So you should obviously go and check him out. And again, in case you don't know, he's actually good at the game. Unlike me, that's not my vibe. That's not my vibe. I'm vaguely aware that Kill Team is a game, and I talk about it on occasion.
I think you're harsh
by accident. Well, if I'm not harsh on myself, who is going to be? Because everybody loves me. That's the. Got to keep myself humble.
And for anyone who doesn't know, this is Andy from Glass Half Dead. It'd be weird if you didn't know who he was, but you dialed into his live stream.
Yeah.
There might be someone out there.
Live stream, not the place to start.
Yeah.
If I'm honest.
Well, there's this high quality production that gets people involved. You're saying this isn't what you want to sell them on day one.
This isn't the brand. Although I'll tell you what, actually, hold on. We've got let me show you. On the pet.
Give it a rotate.
Look at that.
Are you sponsored or no?
I am now.
You are now.
That's how sponsorships work. If you just show their stuff. Oh, well, now I'm not sponsored. Okay. All right.
And just like that, demonetized.
There you go. We'll get it back to the scene.
Other Coda beverages are available.
Sound occasionally cutting out and coming back for anyone else, or is my machine dying? It's not cutting out for me, so that's fine.
In the room, it's quite consistent, to be fair.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. Especially the echo off the wall. I get that lovely double hit. Yeah. And I assume, you probably can hear me.
Can everyone hear me? Is it my audio? Is it
no, we're not here for you. It's fine. Yeah.
No one is. It's fine.
So, we have played a game. That's why we got you down here. And we were about, but that took a touch longer than usual because I'm a slow AF player. I did want to record just a normal video with you.
Yeah.
But You have to go home at some point. I imagine
it's probably a lock-in situation at this point, isn't it?
Yeah. Shut it down.
Maybe I'll get to go home. Maybe I won't.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Shuffle further back.
You sound like my date.
Let's not pretend they're awake.
Yeah. Now we're getting to my demonetization status.
How long before we can swear? Is it 2 minutes? Have we achieved that?
Yeah, no, we're good. We're good.
We've
been done 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Can we have an in-depth analysis on bald head aerodynamics and the applications of this in competitive kill team? Yeah, no, you just headbutt people and it hurts.
It's more for in the summer to have the reflections
directly
in people's eyes. You're trying to aim it.
Yeah.
So
before I go, I deliberately buff the head to get them, and because obviously it's circular, I get multiple people.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? Like a disco ball.
Yes. The true pillars of KT content creators all in one place. Now Phil is here. Phil, of course, being Tabletop Impulse in the chat there.
And all we need is some Fentimans Cola, and we're good to go. We've displayed the wrong brands here. We're off brand. You need this. I need to get some Fentimans.
But I prefer this. Just to dig down on that once more. Let's talk kill team.
We could probably talk about kill team. That seems like why people would be here.
Hello to play on tabletop. Who's at the reins there, old chap? Yes. So play on tabletop probably didn't watch my recent Patreon Q&A video, but I did point out that it's no longer the 80s. You can shave your head and not be ostracized.
Sure.
That was telling. Yeah, that was very telling. Okay, so maybe there's still some ostracization. I can't argue with that.
There's always a little bit.
Yeah. People don't like people, do they? No. Okay, let's talk about kill team.
Yeah. Where do you want to start?
So there's so much to talk about. And that's the end of the stream. Okay. No,
should we both talk about our deep embedded hatred of Commandos, or is that too soon?
Yeah, let's do it. So you've just come back from the championships.
Yes.
Where you, of course, had a great time. You loved that 4-hour round time limit. You think that's how kill team should be played?
Only 4 hours. I mean, there's a story there about a 6-hour round, which
I'm sure we will get to.
Yeah.
That's hello to Jack Whittingham in the chat there, or as I prefer to say, Whittingham. Yes. Yeah. So let's discuss, right? Commandos, hot topic. We believe they're going to get nerfed in the upcoming Battle Stage slate. Yeah. They've kind of already said it, and I believe that also players on the ground out there have kind of said that Elliot, the lead designer of Kill Team, kind of confirmed, yeah, these guys are getting touched. And I believe he said Colts as well.
Yeah, I'd be amazed if they don't. Amazed if those two teams don't. Yeah, if they survive this balanced state slate, it'll be pretty surprising.
Sure. Who else? Before we dive into the Commandos hate, who else do you think needs a nerf?
Nerf.
Yeah.
Ooh, good question. Who's performing particularly well? So it'll be interesting to see what happens when those two teams come out. So who's going to rise to the top, right? As I guess the question.
Who's the cream?
Who's the cream of the crop? That's
the cream on the face. I believe is how I phrased it. Yeah.
I'm more of a lotion kind of guy, but
that's good.
That's for you.
Keep it watery.
So I think Star Strikers are going to do well out of this. Star Strikers really don't like the Commanders matchup, and they played pretty well into the rest of the field.
Well, hold on, you've jumped the question. I said, who else needs a nerf?
Before we talk about else that needs a nerf.
The team that you played,
they need a nerf.
The guys I lost to, nerf them. But my team, okay, sure.
My team is the good team, and they don't deserve to be nerfed. I don't think. I mean, unless I'm missing someone that I'm not thinking of right now, I don't think there's a team that should be nerfed. I mean, Felgor are still pretty good. Like, I think and Jason's going to hate me for this. I think rumours of Felgor's
untimely demise
are vastly over-exaggerated. And at the 64-player tournament, well, it's actually 58, but in London the other day, Felgor's did pretty damn well. They came second on both days, I want to say.
Yeah.
So they did.
Rightly so.
I know, second on day 1 and third on day 2, I think. They did well, right? They did really well, and they do a bunch of stuff well as well. So But I don't think they're too overpowered. I think teams now have a play around them, which is good because they didn't before. Commandos, yeah, fine. Cults, yeah, fine. And I'm trying to think of anyone else. Galapox, I just hate Photo Pains, so maybe let's move.
I was going to say Galapox are kind of just immediately for me the other
the one that's
faction that I think is still probably considered relatively strong.
Yeah.
However, we could also consider how is terrain going to change that. Like right now, as some have said, we're in a very, we deliberately built our terrain around buffing melee teams. If we suddenly remove that, well, actually, our lots of teams would take a nerf.
And Pathfinders will be back. Is it?
Above also?
Pathfinders will be back.
Great.
We'll see more and more Pathfinders. We all really enjoyed that part of the meta.
We didn't even have it. That never occurred. We immediately saw them and said, no, we're not having that. Not having that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So if you look at the top 8, it was, I think, 3 Commandos, 2 Felgors, 2 Colts, and Mio and Star Striders and Breaches. What team have I missed on top 8? Or was it more Colts? No, just more Colts.
I'm reading chat. I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see my heroes to top. So I think he comes out of this balanced state. Say, well, assuming those 2 get nerfed, is going to be your Star Striders, your Breaches. Vet Guard are always consistently strong.
Well, here you go. So I'm going to stop you right there and read chat.
Yeah,
because that's more important than you, because they will pay me money. So
pay this man money.
So we've got Jin and the Sheep saying exactly need a nerf. What a memester. We have Tentacles. Do you think we'll see an FAQ to stop defense dice being reduced to 0, AP2 plus Malignant Aura, for example? Can anything else do that? There's one ability in the game that can do it?
I can't see that happening, to be honest.
In fairness, I think that maybe in a second edition they might put a proviso in defense could never be reduced below 1, but I don't think that matters much. I don't know.
It's a niche scenario.
Yeah. Revan, DB, a classic Dan says hi.
Hey Dan.
Geomag, Vet Guard could maybe use some tweaks.
I agree with this.
Noah Steinbach,
You should keep rolling. Let's not talk about any of the points. Just read chat.
Yeah. I just read them. That's all they want. So
acknowledge me.
Genuinely, I recently went. Yeah, they don't care about me. They're a bigger streamer. I recently went on Penny Arcade stream.
Okay.
Do you know Penny Arcade?
I don't.
Okay, so they're like a big, geekery in general stream, and but they occasionally do some kill team stuff. They weren't doing kill team this time; they were doing 40k. But I jumped in and I thought, I'll hang out, chat. I was hobbying. Nice to have a stream on, and they didn't talk to chat once, and I was like,
Were they just there making content,
ridiculous, right? They basically just did a video with no editing because it's live. And let me tell you, how dare they? How dare they steal my dream?
They prepared enough for a video that they actually knew their talking points without relying on chat to give it to them for them. That is outrageous. Who would do that?
I was livid. Quinn's looking good with Orcs and Colts nerfed.
Yeah, true. Yeah, Quinn's, yeah.
Dan is saying Cyrac seems to think cultists could use a nerf. Yes.
Cultists.
Well, I think we already covered that a smidge.
They're perfecally balanced, I thought. They're really fun to play against as well.
Perfectly balanced. Jason, Ryan, you're out of the group. Presumably because
it's because of the whole
I think Colts need to buff. Not enough Feel No Pain's being rolled. Again, a memester there. Colts need... Okay, everyone's just saying Colts need a buff. So we can move past that. We can just... I'm going to stop reading.
Should we talk about Vet Guard nerf? Should we talk about that or no?
Yeah, quickly, we're almost at the end. Dan again, I just gave Star Striders a go today, rolled very hot and my dad had enough. Yeah, so I will say Star Striders do a bunch of bollocks. As in, if you don't know what they do, they're just gonna kind of wipe you off. And now I assume, that Guy does know what they do. It's not like he's never played them before, but they do a lot. And you have just played them, so you're going to say no, they're fine. But I think
that they're a strong team. So when Commandos and Colts go down, Breaches, Star Striders, Vet Guard. Tell you who else would be at the top. There's another one. Who else can come to the top? Oh, Harlequins.
Yeah.
Void Dance will be up
VD. Yeah, VD is strong.
And VD play well into Star Striders, I think.
Sure. Because they're killing everything in 2 hits, right? And
yeah, so you can do the
charge while ignoring everything.
And you can guarantee a crit, and you can have like 7 damage on the crit, which
Yeah.
then gets half to 4, which then means your regular kills.
Sure.
All that sort of stuff. So like, there's ways, but yeah.
Okay. We have a hello from Cincinnati.
Oh, wow.
But I've lost where he said it, so that's great. Oh, no, it's A-Rod. And that's what you do when you stream. You say their name, you say hello to Cincinnati, and like that's how a stream works. That's what people live stream for. If you don't interact with chat, pre-record the content. Sorry. The reason I'm saying this...
Sounds like you got a point here.
Yeah. Is because I did it again last night. I was watching some World of Warcraft live streams, and I had 2 on, one after the other. And the first one, they didn't talk because they were playing the game. But like they also weren't like particularly good. It was like, why am I don't need to watch this. And then I watched another one, and they talked. They weren't saying good things, but they were talking, and I was into it. Just anyway, sorry.
How long did you watch the stream which they didn't talk for and gave them free views for?
I'm a giver.
Are you the problem, or so there I was watching this stream that was really boring with no audio, thinking, why? How are they doing this? How many people are in the same scenario?
There were 110 people watching a silent stream. That's why I stayed. I thought, well, they clearly, something's good here.
There's probably 109 other people thinking the same thing. Like, these
so
guys must know.
And it's not like they didn't have a profile picture up. It's not like you were watching the person either, because that can give some unwarranted views, arguably. But it was just like, Anyway, right. Sorry, I'll keep going. Bart Lewandowski.
Yeah.
I took a shot at it. I've never tried to say Bart's second name before.
I hope I said it right. I don't know, you can tell us if we got it wrong. I've been trying to get Polish names better as time goes on.
You need to.
Mateusz. See, I finally learned how to say that.
I just wrote it Mateusz.
Oh, I think it's... Oh, I might be wrong. I had to write it down phonetically.
Okay.
Well,
over the course of you probably have
6 days, tried to get it right.
That's fair.
Felt really bad.
But Bart says, please keep this on for at least 2 more hours. I have lots of stuff to paint. McFloss, Nurgle Legionaries need a nerf.
Oh,
that's interesting
controversial
to talk about,
take.
actually.
Yeah.
Because Legionaries are pretty good.
Legionaries are good.
And they... Leave my Death Guard alone. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fine. I will. And he needs to drink more. He's so funny. I don't drink alcohol because I'm boring. And that's just my vibe. How do you find
could be a good experiment.
Star Strike? What's that?
That could be a good experiment.
Drinking alcohol?
Yeah, like on a stream. Because if you don't do it normally, escalation will happen.
Yeah, no, it would be quite fun in a sense. But I just fake it. Say, I'm on vodka, and it's water. How do you find Star Striders versus Horde matchup, Ryan? Why wouldn't you ask me?
So I guess it depends what you mean by Horde. So like Cult. It's a difficult one because the Torments just eat you. They've got enough melee attacks, doesn't really matter. They can fight twice if they need to as well. So outside of that problem to that, which I'm just going to ignore for now, normally it's okay because if you spread out wide enough with your assets, you can generally cause like a lattice of problems that they just then don't know how to deal with. And it's such a mental tax on your opponent where they usually try to avoid getting hit by something, they get hit by something else instead. And then you have so many explosive options for double or even triple kills with Star Striders. So your Void Master can get a double kill quite easily. You have a GA2 option to be able to do it with like crack grenades. Vayne can get a double kill with a charge fight sheet. So against those targets, you can usually do okay, but obviously you're still hindered by the fact that they're going to get last activation. But if you get your asset off, it's 11 activations versus whatever. So I've not found it too bad, but it is challenging, as are a lot of matchups, but it is challenging. But the Void Master is a beast when doing that, absolute beast.
So I have never played as or against Elicidian Star Striders. There you go. They are one of the few teams I've never interacted with.
I should play them today. Never mind.
Yeah. That would not have been a good. You're just like, oh, I've tabled you. Oh, yeah, you have.
Did you not know I could do this?
Yeah. That it would have been that every time. It's like, right. We then have tentacles. You both have to pick one team each to play for the rest of your life. Who are you picking?
Oh, I got one.
Yeah, you go. I don't know.
Inquisitorial Agents.
Okay.
That was a get out free.
Yeah,
easy.
that was easy.
That was so
Right,
easy.
that was easy. Yeah, done.
I'll get you another one, but that's because
Okay.
that's like 4 teams in one, or 5 teams. Whatever it is. Fine. Do you have yours?
No, you go.
I am going to be that guy and go with Star Striders. I think they're really fun.
Okay.
Although, yeah, and the reason I like them is, again, it's the depth of the team. Each operative has something different it does. Warrants are different to play, the missions are different to play, tack up's different. You can blend them quite well. So I think they're a fun team. You look at all the teams.
I'm looking at my teams. Yeah. It's like I've forgotten them. It's like, I'm going to look at one and say, yeah, that one.
Just Ian and his mates?
No, it's a terrible team.
Would it be Commandos?
So, no joke, I am thinking Commandos because they can do a bit of everything. They've got good mixed arms. Yes, they're in a bad spot right now, as in nobody wants to play against them. But even once they get nerfed, as a team to play, they're still a solid team, good basic stats, and you can do a bit of everything. You can do some decent, you've got ways to buff your shooting, your melee. They're a great team. But, pass, I don't know. Yeah. I suppose the thing that I have played the most, and therefore probably like the most, is Hyrotech Circle.
Ooh, they're a good choice.
I like them.
There's some changes
They
there as
have
well.
some real weak sides. They don't really do melee, let's be honest. But yeah, I guess just based on how many times I've played a team, I'd probably be able to stomach them the most.
You play much Harskin?
I've only played against them. Haven't played as them.
Don't know the team that's got a lot of depth. I think they're cool.
Is this some sort of dwarf digging joke? Or?
It wasn't, but it could be.
It could be.
But
We then have Play on Tabletop saying taking notes in reference to when me, a shit tier YouTube channel, was giving tips on how to stream. That's fair. That's fair. We have A-Rod, exactly the man from Cincinnati. Found an Imperial Navy boarding patrol box. Oh, that's really good because that's your Star Striders, Breachers, and one more. It's definitely Star Striders and Breachers in there. It might even be like
2
two
squads of
Breachers.
breaches?
Could be.
It's a full roster of breaches and Star Striders.
Yeah, that's a great box. Great box. Revan, Dan. Personally, I really like Star Striders as being the best team, although I know Glass isn't a fan of no list building. Well, that's just the current edition of Kill Team. That's nothing to do with... If I'm honest, I don't think that having the ability to swap out one gunner is list building, right? So having one option of a gunner swap versus no option is the same thing to me. It's nice when the best team is such a high skill toolbox also for OG value. I would agree with that. If there has to be one best team, it should be a difficult to play team, which normally means it's going to be a very fragile team, like regular humans. So yeah, I can't argue with that. Even though I don't much care for them myself, or Breachers, who I also don't care for, if there has to be a team that's on top, it probably should be a fragile team. Yeah.
Breachers are an interesting one because they're very consistent, but I've heard them be described as quite predictable, and they're quite slow. So people usually, once you play Breachers a couple of times, you figure out what they do.
Sure.
But they're really reliable, so they do that thing really, really well. Which means if you're doing all the right moves with them, they're probably going to play off for you, which is pretty good. Interesting conversation topic. Do you think the game would be better with or without rosters? In its current guise?
In what sense of a roster?
Like, so how we have now, like Marks of Chaos and all that sort of stuff, and the in-session things, and you have the 20 models, but based with all the teams you have at the moment, if you just got
are you
rid of
saying
rosters,
keep 20 models or zero
ditch,
roster and you can take whatever you want?
you just put the faction.
Yeah. It should be that.
Yeah.
Rosters were great in the last edition of Kill Team. They're clearly a carryover from that. We don't need them now.
Yeah, I think in-session
For sure.
and legionaries. They might get a bit stronger as a result.
Sure.
But not so much that it's an issue.
I agree. I understand why they brought them over. Because it seems like it's a good idea to have a limit on things, but we don't use it, really. And it's just a negative now. And you should just have... It
randomly affects some teams, like a Hunterclade.
And it's clearly not intended,
yeah.
really. It's just like, oh, yeah, like 20 models. It's like, okay. No, I think... I rarely mention it because I forget about it. But I think that that is one of the changes I would like in the next edition of Kill Team. It's a quality of life change. It's not mandatory for the game to be good. But you should just put your faction, and you can take any of these models. And there's no I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Slacker at large, lol. Thank you. Chin and Sheep only saved the hot takes for a video. I forgot what I was saying, so that's fine. Some people just like the piece. Oh, this was okay. We're back at when I was ranting about streams. Bart says Ryan is closer. Matthäus's name.
Yeah, closer. Not correct, just closer.
Yeah, it's good. That's the best the English can do, let's be honest.
Yeah. That's what I hope for.
Jason, are you going to talk about some teams that might need a buff as well? Definitely, yes. Once we run out of me reading chat, we can talk about things that need a buff and continue our Commando hate. Or get into it, maybe. Andy would be lit with a few beers. I'll donate to make that happen. I won't drink, but you could donate anyway. I'm okay with that.
I will drink. So,
okay.
I'm happy to drink Andy's drinks.
So every shot I should take, I'll just give it to you.
Again, we'll make a good stream.
Yeah.
We'll make a good stream.
Yeah. I refuse to do anything to improve it, and Ryan does. There you go. We have Hilna Magnusson. Hello from the frozen volcanic waste of the Icelandic far north. I have never been to Iceland. I'd love to go though.
It's lovely. Okay. Although it does smell of eggs. One criticism of Iceland.
Everywhere, or just the specific places that are filtered?
A lot of places, because all of their, well, I say all of their power, loads of their power is done from geothermal, and it's a lot of sulphur, and so a lot of the water sulphur smells. But beautiful landscape, like incredible. So
consider it, but be prepared.
But you'll be like, it does smell a bit like eggs here. Like everywhere you go, like
that's okay.
Beautiful landscape, slight egg smell. It's like someone has an egg mayo sandwich with you at all times.
Well, that's the thing with Instagram posts, you can't smell them.
No, you can't. This is it. This is why Instagram's
maybe
best.
I'll
just travel via the gram.
Travel via the gram. Noah Steinbaum again. The Voidmaster is the real leader in Starstriders.
The Voidmaster. Yeah. No, he's an absolute beast. Sure, everyone loves him. He's probably the only one who can reliably kill a commando. I'm not talking about commandos, but he's probably the only one
that can smash
commandos. Yeah.
Bart chimes in with quite the hot take. Re-breaches you pronounce boring in a funny way. Tentacles tips for the deployment phase. Put your models on the board. So, would you like to give some
tips for the deployment phase? Yeah, sure.
I'll just pass over to you. Go on. Kill team, Brian, go for it.
Here I am. So this is why I've been parachuted in to help Andy. So a few things. One is always deploy your threats last. So if you've got a bunch of indirect weapons, long range weapons, all that sort of stuff in your 3 groups, don't deploy them straight away. Wait and see what your opponent does and then deploy them. And where you can, threat match. Make sure you don't move block yourself. So with the first models you put down, figure out where you want to put them so they can actually reach the objective you're trying to get to without blocking yourself over. That's a really important thing. And yeah, that's probably it for now. And if you want more, I've done a whole video on it on my channel. So you can go check it out.
Yeah, I think you made some really good points in some of your videos. Not all of them though. I think one of the when it comes to deployment, you have to have you're not just deploying, you're thinking of where you go in turn 1.
Yeah.
Right. So it's great to do something when I'm a beginner, which is still current, is I will deploy and make sure that, I know this guy's concealed behind heavy, I can't be shot, good, and everybody's hidden, awesome. And then I'll get into turning point 1, and then towards the end half of my activations, I'll be like, I didn't plan any of this. And I think that once you can kind of plan out your first turn entirely, instead of me where I'm like, I'm going to move that guy there and that guy there, and that's it. That's all I thought through. Then once you get that whole turning point 1 sorted, so you know where you're going, that's kind of what you should be focusing on for deployment. Make sure you have a plan for turn 1 and where everybody goes, not just 1 or 2 key models, ideally. Because otherwise you end up where I end up. I'm like, oh, I've blocked myself.
And it is fine to like hold models back as well. I think a lot of people just rush forward.
That's a very, yeah.
But like, yeah, so I think that's a great point, is like figure out what your movement is to get to those central objectives and score the points. There's usually 2 in the mid-board. Make sure you have 2 opportunities to be able to get to them. And then, yeah, hold those threats back. And there's one other thing on threat matching it's probably worth mentioning, because it did come up during, and I'd highly recommend you listen to the Command Point podcast with Shane talking about his Warhammer Worlds Championship experience. It's harder to say than I thought. Because in that game it came up, right? So that he had a butcher model which I specifically wanted to get all my indirect aligned with, and he deployed that early, so I was able to do that. So I was able to threat match in that game, and I think that's what allowed me to win that game, which was a decision during deployment, which is quite important. So.
Yeah. As opposed to me, where I generally ignore what my opponent does for deployment. I'm like, I'm just going to do this. And like, I might as well deploy everything first, you know, because what you do doesn't affect me. So we then get Mark Lizardo. What faction is best to start Kill Team with? You go.
Intercession.
Nice.
Maybe you just Intercession.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say Justin as the other option.
Oh.
If you're if you're really starting, maybe Justin, but they actually have some quite complicated mechanics. So actually, they're less forgiving. So I take it all back. It's Intercession.
Yep. Great. Sounds good. I think, in reality, anything that isn't normal humans. I think normal humans probably aren't where you should start the game. Obviously, elites, even if that's Phobos. Phobos are great. I think Phobos are really strong, even for beginners. They're going to be harder to skill cap, but they're going to take you further. And the great thing about Phobos is that you can play them like Intercession and just run 6 Reavers.
Yeah.
You can do that. I'm not saying you should, but if you're beginning the game and you want to take that mental load off, you can basically do any of the elite teams. And generally, you're going to have more mechanics in the weaker teams because they need more mechanics to keep up with the game. So, but yes, Intercession is the ultimate answer because the rules are free as well. Don't forget that.
Rules are free.
Models
are cheap.
Easy-ish to get. So yeah, Intercession is the...
Even if you just run 6 Intercessors, which is what I was doing at my tournament, just run 6 Intercessors and just move forward and shoot stuff.
And double tap things.
It works, and they're rerolls, they're durable, you don't have to worry about too many things. The games are quick, which is another benefit. Like, if you play Intercession versus Intercession, it's a quick game. You can probably play 3 games in the time it takes 2 Horde teams to play 1. So when you're getting your reps in the first few times, I think it's worth
For sure.
Intercession.
For sure. I think, any elite team though.
Yeah, elite
team. But in Intercession
as well, but they're just slightly more complicated.
No,
so
sure.
I would graduate as you go through. Like, learn a bolter profile, then go learn what other weapons do.
I think that actually, although I've said yes, you could just play all of these. Like it is Intercession. Legionary are a little bit scary because they have a lot of options.
Yep.
And it feels like all of your guys are melee, but in different ways. So how should I be playing? Anyway, I'm just arguing against my own statement. Stop that.
Graduate to Legionary, that's it.
Commandos are a great team to learn with, but probably just the Intercession. I said, Ace chimes in, the handsomeness. We say hello, Ace.
Obviously me, right?
I assume he's talking about the Pepsi.
Well, we're having a chat about Kill Team's most handsome man. Do you know who Kill Team's most handsome man is?
It's not me, I don't know. Who?
Elliot. It's obviously Elliot.
Oh, obviously, yeah, of course.
He is by far Kill Team's most handsome man.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then there was a debate over who was like 2nd and 3rd.
Right.
So Wallace reckons he's probably 2nd.
Okay.
So I think by default it makes me 3rd.
I'm seeing where this is going. Yeah. No,
so you're the 4th most handsome man in Kill Team.
That's pretty impressive.
Which is pretty impressive. Like, I mean, it's pretty good, right? I mean, you can't really...
You know, being number 4 of the zeros is super. Oh, you've made me have to insult the whole Kill Team community to insult myself. That's very dirty. Very dirty. Shame on you.
But you were going to do it anyway.
I'm gonna plow through. Yeah. Hilna Magnuson, the sulphur is the smell of home, and yes, smells like eggs, ha ha ha, and enjoying the occasional view of local warp storms during wintertime. Aurora Borealis. Now, I haven't been to Iceland to see the old AB, but I have been to Sweden, in Umeå, up north. So it was just on the cusp of, I got the 24-hour day and night.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I saw the Aurora Borealis though, but that's cool.
So that's a cool story that wasn't related to what you just said. That was just you basically just bragging that you went to Sweden once.
Yes. It's my channel. It's what people
that's
are here
really
for.
cool. I went to a holiday too.
I associate the Aurora Borealis
with Sweden.
24-hour days and nights. And I had the chance to see it. The fact I didn't, not really relevant. Big question from McFloss. Does Mr. Turning Point hate hobby as much as Andy?
I mean, is it a question? Yes, I do hate hobby.
We should do a tier list of who hates hobby the most.
Yeah. So I have actually hobbied. Like my intercession and my breaches have been painted. The issue is that I don't have much time, and it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I know that I'm going to do it badly. Or not as good as it could be done. I guess is it. So I don't like being bad at stuff.
Okay.
You wouldn't have thought I was compared.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. Because that was too easy. That was too easy.
Too easy being a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate hobby. There you go. That's the answer. That's the answer.
It's a terrible thing. Gin and the Sheep chimes in. He's got your back. He's already answered for you. I heard he's embraced painting so much that he's taking up commission painting. And then he says he's also taking up cosplay. He said he was dressing up for the Notts December tournament.
Oh yeah.
On the 16th up in Nottingham.
16th Nottingham, already sold out. But
okay. Well, don't buy a ticket.
But
people will drop. So
people might drop. There is a waiting list. I think it's 3 on the waiting list at the moment. So hit up Jason and Notts Kill Team. He can get you out on the waiting list because there'll be some drops, I'm sure.
For sure.
This close to Christmas. So.
For sure. Ace asks, what do you think Ryan about Into the Dark on season 3? He does follow up with and Andy, but clearly that's like just thrown in there. So I'll just let you answer that. What do you think about Into the Dark?
This is your channel though. Into Dark season 3, interesting. Well, I guess it depends on what teams come out in season 3, right? Like, so we've seen Night Lords.
Yeah.
We've seen Scouts, and we've seen Eldari. Those are the 3 that we've seen. I don't know what else is going to come out. So I think there's a few of the Into the Dark maps that need to be burned in fire and never return to competitive.
Sure.
Like, so there's one of the ones where it's like there's two mid doors that separate the deployment zones, and then one massive room in the middle.
Yeah.
Awful. Burn that to the ground.
You don't like it?
Never again. You can't get between rooms apart from through the massive mid room. No cover. You get alpha struck. Awful.
Okay.
The one that Shane really hates as well is the 4 rooms in a line one.
Okay.
Again, I get that. So like those 2 probably don't need to be in the pack.
Okay.
How do I feel about the rest of it? I think it will survive. I think people genuinely like it now, so I think we'll see it continuing in tournaments.
Okay.
I think it brings an interesting dynamic between open and Into the Dark. So yeah, I don't mind it. I think it's good. I think it'll be interesting to see. I'm interested to see what the new teams bring to it, because it's usually favours elites. You know, so if you're a 3 APL team able to move through doors, or Zinch and you're 4 APL and you can open a door, move, dash and shoot someone, that's a really strong ability to have. So if they have those sorts of abilities, then maybe it'll be good for them, but wait and see, I guess. So.
Yeah. Sunken cost fallacy. People have the terrain, they're going to use it.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
They will for sure.
I'm so boring. I'm just like, here's the facts. Moving on. I'm right. Okay.
It's weird because normally you're the waffler and I'm the to the point, but
well, normally I'm on my own.
That wasn't me.
Yeah. No. It's because normally I have to waffle because it's just me.
Yeah.
And otherwise I can't just answer like that. No. And sit here in silence for 5 minutes till somebody asks a question.
There'd be 109 people watching the show though, being like, I wonder why. Why is everyone watching this?
This guy's got something to him. I can tell. Yeah. Chris Nicolaides. I'm new to tabletop. Wow.
Oh, wow.
In general, okay. Played 5 games of Kill Team and understand how to play match. Okay, well, not new anymore. Is it terrible idea to go to a tournament? What is the attitude like to beginners? E.g., Darksphere last week.
So Darksphere was a massive Shark Tank. We ate the yarn.
It was. So, okay, it was a Shark Tank. Okay? There are certain scenes that are what we term a Shark Tank. That means they're going to eat you alive. Okay? That's the purpose of the term Shark Tank. However, I will say, and I've said this always, that it's okay to play against those sharks. If you're new, like, they're like, oh great, a win, sweet. But most of the people that are at the top there are going to go, oh, a win, awesome, I can play chilled. And they're going to give you a good game, they're also going to teach you the game, they're going to help you how to play during that game. They are going to smash you, but that's fine. It's your first time playing at a tournament, it's good. However, if we ignore the Shark Tank factor, I think tournaments are great to go to for beginner players. I've been at tournaments where the guy across from me said, it's my first game ever. I was scared. I was like, oh, this is going to go a while. And he was playing Vet Guard, right? And I was like, oh no. He was amazing. Like, we finished on time. It was like, he flew through it. He'd clearly done his prep. And it was good for him. It was good for me. I think there is nothing at all wrong with using a tournament to essentially learn a game or at least get fast reps in, even when you're a beginner.
I would be very surprised if you went to a tournament where the reception for you turning up as a beginner for your first tournament was negative. Like at Tony Pro Tactics last weekend, I tried to make a massive effort of embracing new people to the tournament. So we had a rookie award. So whoever did the best out of new players to a tournament, so if it was their first ever tournament, and they came best out of all of the players who was their first time, they won an award.
That's cool.
We had, like the way that the split works. So day one, everyone plays together, but naturally the way the pairing matches up means if you're losing your games, you'll play progressively easier opponents as the day goes on. If you're winning your games, you'll play progressively harder opponents as the day goes on. So you're not going to be, if you lose the first two games, you're not going to be against some really ridiculous players. And then on day two, we deliberately separated the top 16, so they went and played on an extended game to try and figure out who was the best of the top 16, whilst the whole new tournament began for everyone else. So again, it's about trying to make those opportunities to have as much fun as possible. So I cannot recommend tournaments enough. I think you have to go to it with a realistic win condition, which is I'm going to turn up and play 4 games, 3 games, whatever it's going to be, and have fun. And I'm going to learn my team at the end of it, if it's your first one, right? And maybe you just go, like, if I could get a single win, that would be awesome. But go with the expectation you're not going to win a game, right? Because it's your first time doing competitive, that's fine. Anything better than that, well, then you're a massive winner straight away, right? So I cannot recommend it enough. I think you should definitely go to them. Check with the TA beforehand. You can send them an email, whatever, and say, hey, just let you know, I'm turning up, I'm new to the game, I've played this many, I know roughly the core mechanics. And you can say it to your opponents as well when you get there. And I'll be very surprised if you don't have someone who's, like, as you say, keen to help you, teach you things, and make it so you have a better game as you go forwards. Because the other point is, a lot of placing these days is done on average opponent win percentage. So it's in the strong player's interest to teach you stuff so you perform better as the day goes on. So if you're not doing that, they're ultimately hurting themselves and hurting the community. So couldn't recommend it enough. Please sign up to tournaments. I would say sign up to the December one, but it's already full. There's going to be a whole new calendar of tournaments for LWG coming out soon in the new year. And there's the Warhammer World tournaments that are good to go to. And in June, probably the end of June, there'll be a 128 player tournament that I highly recommend going to. It'll be organised by me, hopefully, in Nottingham is the plan, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, sounds really cool. Cool. The bigger the tournament, the better for a beginner. Greater chance of playing fellow beginners. Yep. Hilna Magnuson, Phobos are great, fast, tactical, fairly simple rules, not too fragile, and good to learn the engagement, conceal different cover and obscuring rules for the game. So fun. I agree. Mm-hmm. I agree. Sure. Rob Lewis, I hate hobby too, but enjoy Slapchop. Now, Slapchop is hobby, just to clarify, because I do that, and I still don't like it.
Is it mainly Slapchop? No.
Okay, so I've actually never done Slap Drop. Thanks for calling me out on that. I do Zenithal. There you go.
Oh, okay, right.
So there are different shades of white on it.
Yeah.
It's just done from a specific angle.
Gotcha.
Because
which is close.
The same concept. Just the light is coming from a different angle.
It looks good as well.
Thanks. Yeah.
So I like them.
Some of them look good. Yeah, I agree. CT7479, Mr. TPT, that's you. How did you feel the Dark Sphere tournament went?
That's a good question. I think so. Stand by to be corrected in the chat, but I thought it went really well. I was a bit worried going into it because my first time TOing, and obviously there's a whole lot of stuff I didn't know, right? So I hadn't really used BCP before, as a TO. I'd used it as a player, but not as a TO. So I was trying to learn that on the fly. I was working with the venue for the first time, and so we learned a whole bunch of stuff. There's some bits that didn't go as we'd hoped, so the way the pairings worked on day 2, so the top 16, and the final placements wasn't what we hoped it to be. But what I did see, which is what for me makes it a win, was at the end of day 1 and day 2 was a bunch of happy, smiling people having had fun playing Kill Team. And so there's a whole bunch of beginners who turned up who said that they definitely want to come to the next one or definitely come to future events. And that to me is a win, because if the 8 new players that turned up at that event come to future events, we've just grown the community, right?
Yeah.
And all they have to do is tell a few other people. So I thought it went really well from what I wanted to get out of it point of view, and speaking to some of the competitive players at the top as well, they seem to have fun because they still had that challenge, what they're after, and it still provided that. So learned a whole bunch. Next one will hopefully be better, but I enjoyed it as my first TO experience, and I think it was a success. But I'm ready for criticism in the chat of people who disagree. but it seemed to go well, so yeah.
Awesome. A few of my local guys went to it and they said, good. Yeah. They also said it was a Shark Tank.
Yeah, there's a lot of good players there. A lot of good players.
Dan comes in. My first opponent at Dark Sphere 20 was a new player playing Phobos. He asked me if it was also my first game. Correct. Dan takes no... He will wreck you. He will wreck you.
In a nice way, though. I actually haven't played against Dan.
Is it, though? Is it?
I think he can be beaten nicely.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Tentacles, opinions on taking the Butcher in a Legionary team, assuming Nurgle/Khorne roster?
So, this is an interesting one. I think Butcher has some niche scenarios where he's useful. Generically, if you're getting started, as I would just say, don't bother with it. I think there's better options. But against teams that have limited indirect but want to get close to you to do high damage on something like Into the Dark, he has real utility. So, for instance, you can put him on guard behind a door, a hatchway. People can't open the door without being fought, which is a free thing for you. Or you can put him on conceal in a corridor, and then they can't get within 2 to negate your cover without coming in engagement range and fighting you. And therefore you have the ability to zone out areas. I don't think it's an auto include. I think you have to look at the map and go, I'm going to put the Butcher here, and it is for this very specific purpose that he's going to go in this room at this time and do this thing, and that's where I think it's worthwhile. With if you can ping pong through Vet Guard, sure, but usually he dies after he does his first couple of kills. Usually,
sure. Yep. 4 dice hitting on 4 is not reliable enough compared to the rest.
He gets relentless in the charge, sure. But if he gets charged by someone, so you have to give him a blade.
Yeah, sure.
So now he's 2 EP. So now you're just making him so he's good, and then you're probably giving him a Grizzly Trophy if you're trying to do a proper room denial against indirect or something. So now he's 5 EP on a single model, and you're like, oh, and is he doing a better job than a Shrive Talon? I don't know. So the answer is, with all these things, it depends. If you look at the map and you go, and against the team, this team's bad at melee, I can abuse it by putting this model here, they have to come in close and shoot me, they can't do it, then it's probably worthwhile. Vet Guard maybe.
So Chris has agreed, thanks for the encouragement, he will go to a tournament in 2024. Love it.
Beautiful.
Nebulatron, I can confirm tournaments is great. Okay, that's more on the tournaments. Noah Steinbaum, how do you guys feel about events favouring secondaries for positioning I find that I dislike it because occasionally denial is your best option, hurting both players.
That's an interesting one. Well, conversely, you can argue that you can deny primaries quite well as well. So both have issues, I guess. I think there's a little bit more skill and awareness in secondaries than primaries. And the reason why I say that is because you have to choose the right one, you have to play a game plan to make it work, and you have to fulfill a bunch of conditions. And usually that's harder than the primary mission. So, but the primary mission scores more points. So for me, it's like you want to reward people for doing something that's slightly harder to do and scores less than just doing the main mission and winning. And it's like, well, and that gets you the win and it gets you the thing. Because with the primary, a lot of people don't realise is every time you score one, you're effectively denying your opponent one. So it's better to be even more gross with it. If you go 3-3-3, it's not as good as going 4-2. So I don't know. I would suggest that tac ops are a better way of doing it, but that's just maybe my personal bias. I'm happy to hear what other people think about pairings because it's an endless debate. In fact, there's probably a good chat to have about pairings because there's a lot to talk on it. But
yeah, so I was, to be honest, I was just going to say what you kind of touched on at the end there. You see, cutting out the waffle, just getting straight to it. That's me. That's me.
Clear, concise.
So, tiebreakers comes up a lot, and it always seems to be a debate. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem that there is a best option. There might be a generally agreed upon option in one meta, and that doesn't have to mean Spain or something. It could mean the entire kill team or even the entire Games Workshop meta. Mm-hmm. But then you go to another game like Malifaux or something, and they're like, why would you ever do that? That's literally the worst way to do it. Use this. It seems that everything has pros and cons. So I think if you're at the point of caring that much and you feel that secondary placement ranking is going to affect you, then you're also good enough to play into that. So just deal with it.
So it's not a bad take. So one of the common things that people say, and it's worth touching on because it's a bit of the feedback that came back from the tournament, is so the first tiebreaker for us was opponent win percentage. So your average opponent win percentage. The reason why we chose that and why it's better than strength of schedule is because strength of schedule, if your opponent drops during the day, then it hurts you significantly more than had they stayed and played. Whereas average win percentage, it stays locked, right? So it remains fixed, whatever happens, if your opponent leaves or not. Cool. So you're not affected.
So he continued. He started saying, "Oh, I meant this," and strength of schedule, and you just responded to strength of schedule. So I don't need to.
Cool. Perfect.
Cool. Chad Livesworth. Anyone feel like bespoke teams are becoming more like big hammer? So this is something people have mentioned. We don't know. So until we see the rest of the teams, we don't really know what Season 3 is doing. The only thing we kind of have locked in is that the Scorpions they don't have a specialist. That doesn't really necessarily mean anything. I would hate to look at a point and say that's a pattern. Do you have any thoughts?
Is this like the idea that they're turning into big hammer squads?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think one of the issues is the way Games Workshop builds models and that sort of thing. They're always going to want it to be able to fulfill two markets, right? Because why would they not, right? So they're going to build these units that hopefully do both. I can't see that changing anytime soon. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think I've been really impressed by what the game designer has done with the various ways of changing teams and using their rules in different ways to get a lot of unique flavour out of what otherwise could be a bland bit of plastic. I look at Colts. Colts has a lot of flavour as a team, but actually it's just it's not that different. It's like 10 random guys all the same and some mutants and stuff, right? So, but it has a lot of flavour as a result. So I'm quite impressed by how that happens. You're right though. What did Season 3 hold? No idea. maybe we'll get loads of bespoke teams, and maybe as Kill Team becomes more and more successful, and we convert more people into our tournament scene and more people into the game, keep coming in, it's nice inside. We'll see a shift in pattern and more of a focus on Kill Team products, that maybe 40k becomes the sort of like, well, this is a Kill Team product specifically for Kill Team, and you're the guys that get something extra as a result. So maybe we'll see more of that as a trend, which has kind of been happening already a little bit, but not 100%.
So I've never had any issue with the White Dwarf teams or cults as like their depth of rules. I have no issues going forwards. It seems like the rules guys know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. They might make a misstep, I don't know, but so far they've been pretty solid on making the 40k teams, like the White Dwarf ones, which are just a box straight from 40k, and making them work with Kill Team. So I'm not fussed about it, to be honest with you.
I think Kill Team's a good place. It's genuinely a good place. It seems to be getting better. If a team is broken, I wouldn't worry about it, because it won't stay broken for longer than 3 months. Well, maybe if it's really broken, 6 months. But the play testers are on it, and they've been fixing it as it goes through. Every balanced data state has been effective, so I'm not worried. It's in a really good place.
Matthew Paul, do you think Season 3 will have new terrain with each release, similar to Season 1? Oh no,
Ooh.
They've explained this already on Warcom, so that's I can just answer for you. So they've explained what they're doing is we get the big Killzone Beta Decima at the beginning, and that is our terrain for the whole season. And then every box that we get, like the first box, Salvation, is obviously our Scorpions and our Scouts, and that has some narrative terrain in it. And every box will be the 2 teams and a narrative terrain sprue that will presumably go in with the existing Beta Decima zone. But the Beta Decima big box is for the whole year. So that's easy peasy. Gin of the Sheep. When will Andy explain his rock, paper, scissors theory? So, never. It's really hard. This is me saying that the game is rock, paper, scissors. Which, or if you want to phrase it another way, is meta-cycling.
So here's a question. Do you like that as a mechanic? Because that was a question I've asked. You think it's fine? Oh, that's interesting. Because I don't. It might be a good discussion.
So, perhaps I was being a touch too realistic. I don't know how you could balance a game that doesn't end up as rock, paper, scissors. I don't think ultimate parity is possible. So you have to lean into something. And the way Kill Team is currently set up, you have some good teams that have a damage profile that works well against certain health wounds profiles. And that team generally does pretty well.
So I think Kill Team is. So I don't like rock, paper, scissors. I think it's bad, because if you turn up to a table and you think, I've already lost this game.
Oh no, I agree. That's not good. But how else do you do it?
So that's where I think the flexibility of the teams is going really well, and that's something that Kill Team can embrace more in, is give each teams more equipment or more abilities or more optives, so they have more flexibility within a team. So I think Inquisition is a great example of a team that has loads of different flexibility and ways it can go, and that would be really interesting to see. So that's where the unlimited roster could be more interesting. I don't personally like rock, paper, scissors balance mechanic. If you go, this team is fine because they get beaten by this team, which is what it can turn into. It's like whenever you look at a team and go, this team is so for instance, Inquisition got their AP nerf because it was, this team is like, you cannot beat them as elites because they bring 6 APT weapons, whatever it was in total, and that's 1 APT weapon per model you have. That's, I think, really bad to play into as a player, because you go, well, what do I do apart from hope? So I like it where it's more about decisions and it's more about what you do on the table. I don't think we're that far off.
But this building isn't on the table.
Yes, but you might need a few more roster options potentially.
So I agree, but that's not this edition of Kill Team. In fact, there's literally one team that does that.
Yeah, Inquisition. Yeah.
I agree. That sounds amazing. But that's not this edition.
But the equipment's quite good. The equipment can change stuff up quite well if it's implemented correctly. I think the tools are there, and the weapon choices are there.
Okay.
So, for instance, for a long time, everyone thought Void Dancers couldn't beat Elites. They said, there's no way you can beat Intercession with Void Dancers, doesn't work. And then someone went, but what if you just take the extra 1 damage on the Kiss, and then you automatically hit a crit through, it's 7 damage down to 6, 4/4, it's 14 wounds, boom, kills them. Murderous Entrance, kill with a Kiss. Fusion Pistol kills as well, and everyone, oh right, and actually then suddenly the match went from being completely unwinnable, as what we saw it to, as being maybe 50-45. And there's an element of that where it's like, it won't be, but I don't want it to be, I don't want it to ever go above like a 65, like,
sure.
sort of whatever, like threshold, because then you go, well, I need to roll really well.
Sure.
Which hurts, so.
Eternal optimist, Ryan. I disagree. Sorry, I love what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just think you're like just
It won't happen.
pulling it out of thin air. Like, yes, there is so much they could do. It's not going to happen this edition. Is it going to happen in next edition? We don't know what next edition is. We don't even know if we'll be able to play these teams next edition. They might scrap the whole game. They might compendium it all. No clue.
It'll be interesting to see what they do, because like, so with Eldari, like because that could go the way of Inquisition, right? Where it suddenly becomes like loads of options. So if they add in like Harlequins, and maybe you get these like kill teams that are sort of like more like Inquisition, where you get more options. I don't know. That's one way of it happening.
Yeah.
That's probably too difficult.
That sounds so. List building is amazing. However, it's really, really hard to balance a game when you add in too much list building.
Yeah.
And too much list building can be any list building.
Yeah.
Like it's really difficult. So I totally understand why the designers have said, yeah, we're just not going to give you that.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes game balance.
I understand it.
Easier.
Yeah.
But like, so per example, I think Exaction Squad right now are good into all of the meta apart from Elites. So you could say, that's fine, we'll just leave them as is, right? And we'll just accept they won't win versus Elites. Or you can go, here's some tools to deal with Elites. And I don't. So I think that's the way the game designer is moving away from rock paper scissors through some useful tools to try and solve those problems.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, ostensibly I agree.
But in practice, we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Yeah, fair enough.
I think they have the fundamental issue of they've got Exaction Squad are really good into other humans. Like they're amazing, but everybody's playing elites. So how do you deal with that into elites without buffing them further into humans? So far, correct me if I'm wrong, they've never given a new equipment. No, they haven't.
Combat knives to Kazakin. Maybe more.
So I agree though. I think the whole game could be solved if you give an infinite number of equipment options for every possible situation. Yes. They won't do that.
Yeah. It's about finding where that team is struggling and targeting it.
Yeah.
And the real difficulty is not getting it wrong, where you go for the overcorrect and then you have suddenly a team that's just running around.
Yeah, you think you're giving them a buff to elites, but actually that same buff makes them insane into everything else. Yeah. Despite it taking 2 to 4 hours for us to play out, how many minutes or seconds is a game of Kill Team supposed to represent? A minute, maybe 2. What are your thoughts?
Oh, how long is it supposed to be actually in game?
Yeah. So, for reference, I know that in D&D, a single round of combat is meant to be 4 seconds.
Interesting.
So, I think, if you think about rough... I like to imagine, like we're playing in a warehouse. Kind of like that's the kind of size our things are on. How long would it take you to sprint? What, 50 meters?
Yeah, I guess that's the question. Is like, what you need to do? You could probably do it scientifically. Is figure out how big the average human is, like 6 foot. Right?
That's true. So okay.
This guy is 6 foot.
He's 2 inches. The ball's 22 by 30. Let's say.
How if he goes 9 inches and he's doing an average sprint pace?
Yeah. I reckon a game of Kill Team's about 30 seconds. Ish. Yeah. You know, like...
Yeah.
If you think all of these guns we're supposed to have are like rapid firing guns, and how many times do you get shit, it's like, I reckon it's all happening lightning fast. Yeah.
I reckon so. Yeah, it's a quick game, right? Like,
It's not minutes. I don't
Space
think.
Marines shooting twice with the bolter and sprinting is fast, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll try and do the maths at some point and figure it out for you.
That's the next
let you know
stats show.
how far an inch and a half is 6 foot.
Okay.
How far does it take? Or how long does it take to run 9 inches? Someone can do the maths in the background.
Dolfo Delabor says hello. Hello. Jason says, Ryan, he's only talking to you. Would you not be worried that if you... Sorry. If you move towards a more homogenized game where every team has options to deal with everything else, that all teams start to just feel the same? Ooh. Interesting.
So...
Sorry, allow me to jump in. You didn't ask me. Ryan, you...
Not that you're bitter about it.
No, not at all.
So
I expect a donation soon. Thank you. Everybody you can donate.
So I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
But this is the thing that I'm surprised about is every time I see a new team, I think to myself, there's no way they're going to have something unique and new that no one has thought about. And then you go, oh yeah, I've never thought about that. And that is something unique and new. And so each team at the moment has done a really good job of capturing like flavour of the team. And I think there's ways that you can maintain that whilst solving those core issues. So for instance, Exaction Squad, I've got a suggestion of how you could fix the elite problem, right? Melter slugs in a shotgun. Okay. It's equipment, it's 3 AP, right? It's AP1, P2, it's 4-1 mortal wounds 3 on damage, right?
Okay.
It synergizes with a Malakator, where you can select a model or auto-retain a crit, and like it pairs well into that. It can't be taken by Inquisition because it's equipment, so it's solved there. You can only ever get 3 of them. Like you don't have any issues.
Sure.
And it's one shot, so they're probably killing a weedy guy anyway. Using a Melter Slug seems really unnecessary, but it pairs really nicely into that ability to then go, nah, this is like the Judge Dredd hot shot moment where he then fires it and melts a guy's head. Yeah. So thematically, it adds, whilst also not
buffing them particularly
in the wrong way.
Because
like it seems excessive to go to the 7-wing guardsman. You're taking a full melter to the face when your shotgun would have done it anyway. So that's one, and I like the fact it has synergies within the team. Like it's like, hey, you have this guy that makes someone have crits against them. It's very good against single target, focus them down and kill them. I think that's cool. So that's how I would try and solve it. But I appreciate that people have different ways.
For sure. I will say, this is just a random aside about Exaction Squad. I think that their standard baton being like...
It needs to be stun or something. Like, why is it worse than a fist?
It's crazy.
Like, has anyone actually had a police baton in their hand? It's a giant chunk of metal, and somehow it's less effective
and you're like,
than the guardsman just going, all right, come get it.
And it's great that, to point to the reality of that doesn't make any sense, but also mechanically, I don't think it needs to be that bad for the team to be balanced. I don't know what's up there.
If it was stun, it would make sense, right? It's a rubber baton because they're kinky like that. They are the kinkiest team out there. Loads of handcuffs and masks.
Gimp mask.
Like it's the thing. It's weird that they're more so than Jakari, but anyway, like if it was a rubber baton, then you go, oh, I get it. You're not actually trying to kill them. You're just trying to like stun them.
Yeah.
Like that makes sense.
Sure.
It just being the worst form of melee in the game.
Very strange.
Is odd.
Very strange.
Yeah.
Whereas the shield 4/4 guys are fine.
Yeah, but also weird that like when you hit someone with the shield, it's 4 damage, and I got the giant sparking electromace, 4 damage.
Yes.
Like, surely if the shield was 3, and then there's the mace was 4, like
you're encouraging a nerf. Stop.
But I want the offensive to hit on 3s. Yeah. Like, why am I worse at hitting you with this than I am just like walking into you with a shield, but does the same damage?
Hilna Magnuson, any thoughts or predictions about the jungle terrain rules teased in the next White Dwarf issue?
I have no thoughts. I haven't read them, so
no. It's just predictions. No, I don't know. I'm hoping that we get a few layouts for jungle terrain, but that would mean they'd have to sell jungle terrain. So
are they reselling it? Because there was the Death World set that came out ages ago, wasn't there?
No, they don't sell any of that anymore.
Okay.
The only vegetation they sell would be the feculent gnarlmore and the wildwoods from Age of Sigmar.
Say that again, sorry?
Feculent gnarlmore.
What a name.
Yeah.
But
that's not jungle.
I think again, terrain can be really interesting for Kill Team.
Maybe it could be. Maybe it'll be the Warcry terrain.
Oh yeah.
And so maybe what they're going to do is actually the only kit that they still sell, which is the big like the kill zone, but it's called a Ravaged Land, which is like interesting. I didn't think that was a very good set. So yeah, but that would make sense. A little bit of cross compatibility. I like cross compatibility.
I hate it. I think everyone needs to get on the train of Kill Team.
Single one. Okay.
Whenever I'm in the WhatsApp group and someone's talking about something else other than Kill Team, they're wasting my time.
Livid.
They're wasting my time.
They're like Warcry. Like, what's that?
Yeah,
is that a new ability?
Never heard of a.
Yeah.
Not interested. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think terrain could be really like an interesting way of adapting the way the game plays. Like for instance, the new, what's it called, Beta Decima?
Yes.
Whatever it's called. I'd be interested to know how that plays. Like how does that how have they made what looks visually
on that. Yeah.
like awful?
Terrible.
It doesn't look good, right? It doesn't look good. But like it'd be interesting to know how they've made the rules make sense because like how do you get the objectives, the layout on the map?
I'm concerned because I sell objective markers.
Right.
And if you put those up on a vantage point and my objective marker hangs over the edge, that looks cringe. So what do I do now?
Like, can you score it from the ocean?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
So
that's
I don't know.
my only concern.
So that'll be interesting to see. In fact, I don't know. Yeah. So, but terrain rules can be interesting, but you don't want the terrain rules to detract from the competitive experience, is my opinion, because at its core, I still believe Kill Team is a competitive game, more so than a narrative game.
Completely.
So if you have, some sort of swamp monster that you roll a dice and on a 1 your model just gets eaten, that's going to be a really negative play experience.
Yeah.
But might be really interesting from a narrative point of view. But like the Red Terror coming out and eating one of your guardsmen like a turn is not going to be fun if you're playing in a tournament and that guardsman's the one who's going to win you the game. Right?
Sure.
So like, that will annoy you.
Yeah.
So it's a fine balance when it comes to those things.
Just to quickly go back to what Jason said about the homogenization of teams. I actually agree. We have so many teams, and although we all like to joke that another 7 wound 10-man team, great. Like they do a pretty good job of making them all quite distinct, and they play differently. And as long as they keep doing that and making the mechanics suit the theme, and the theme is different enough, therefore the mechanics are different enough between them all. But I agree. I don't think we want homogenization, and they seem to be doing a pretty good job.
So
if the negative to that is that some teams just cannot fight other teams. Sorry, obviously every team can fight another team.
Yeah.
But some are just significantly more effective.
Yeah.
Right? Do you always have to be effective into everything? Is the question.
So I guess it depends what you mean by like effective, doesn't it? It's like, do you have a good chance?
Every team can beat every team.
Yeah, like
that's possible.
Physically, these things happen or could happen, but like you want it so it's to the point where it's close enough that your player decisions are swinging the game. You don't want it where it's just like, I've got this thing. There's nothing you can do. Like Chaos Cults on release, for instance, it was very much like, and he spoke to a lot of Chaos Cult players. They go, it was weird how I could just throw models across the board and not worry about it because no one had the killing potential to stop me.
Sure.
Whereas now they're going, I actually have to think about it and play the game. And so like that's a good thing, right?
Yes.
People are going, I'm actually having to engage with it. My decisions are impacting if I win.
Yes.
And that's just a few nerfs. So that is a good thing. As it gets closer to that, I think it's going to be a win. But what will be interesting for me is if we carry on at the rate of expansion that we're on now, is at what point does Kill Team have too many teams? And then how do you solve that problem? Because
by resetting the edition.
Yeah, right. And so
and that's what scares me.
And you get like a new compendium or something, and everyone goes into the compendium. But then I'm wondering, is that the model where Inquisition works, where you have, rather than Inquisition, you have a Imperial Agents team?
Okay. Okay.
and then within that you have the
Interesting.
select one of these fire teams.
Okay.
Right, and it could
I'm
be
into it.
Star Striders. It could be, I don't know, what are the other Imperial agents? Inquisition.
You've convinced me. That's how I want. So, I haven't had a good idea of how they could reset the game.
Because they have to keep the models. Because if
No,
they don't, like that is, well, I think they're learning the hard way from 40k that when they say we're putting this into Legends, people go,
Oh yeah.
I'm out, thank you. Like, so they've got to be real careful with that. Like
So
that's
the obvious options are scrap all the specialist teams and compendium that we know is just still the compendium.
yeah,
That's an option. And the reason they might do that is because all of those teams are in the combat patrols of their
Right.
faction from 40k. And you can't cut the 40k players out, right? And even as kill team focused people, we don't want to cut the 40k players out. We want new blood.
Yeah.
And 40k is a huge pool. We don't want to cut them out, right? So that's not a crazy idea. Alternatively, do what Warcry did, where all of these last year specialist teams, they still exist. They're still there. They just have the same rules. And they just keep expanding. Warcry has an insane number of teams. It's mad. Are we going to do that? And I imagine, if so, what would happen is all of these get their special stuff cut out. So they have their narrative rules cut out. They will have their faction tac ops cut out. This is pure guesswork, right? So you essentially prune them down a smidge, and they become the compendium teams, and they will just be ploys and data sheets.
Yeah.
And equipment. I mean, that's what the compendium is. That's not terrible. That's a lot of teams, though. Good luck balancing that game.
It'd be interesting to see because like a lot of the team's flavour is in their equipment and in their ploys.
Well, I mean,
So it'll be interesting
by
to see 'cause,
compendium,
like,
they would keep that.
Yeah, but so well, I
Unless
guess you
they
could put
take
you could
those
put it
out.
all in there. Like, because what I'm wondering is like, let's say your compendium team was Agents of the Imperium and it had RBTs, breaches,
Yeah, sure, yeah.
and Star Striders. Well, what equipment do you get to keep and what equipment do you get to lose, and what ploys do you keep, what ploys do you lose, what tac ops
Sure.
do you keep and lose?
Okay.
Because I do like the idea of if you want to, what's the phrase? Simplify, not simple.
Yeah, sure.
If you want to simplify but not simple kill team.
Hey, 40k, no rerolls now, guys.
There's no rerolls in kill team anymore.
Yeah.
Like you could do that, and then you could just, as you say, have 3 faction tac ops, 1 set of equipment for all of them.
Yeah.
And then there you go. Like choose one of these teams.
Interesting.
These are the rules they have.
I like it. I like it.
This is
I
faction
hadn't considered the idea of doing super faction pools. And so maybe what they could then do is they put the list building
Back
into the
in.
compendium. I don't think you need it in the specialist teams. I think kill teams a defined game without that, and that's fine. But then as a way to keep all of the models relevant, you have those teams as the compendium team. So you keep all your models and you can mix them up a bit, but fundamentally, in a weird way, they are scrapped, if you want to do it. I like it. I like it. There's something there, I reckon.
Space Marines, you've got Justian, Intercession, Phobos.
Yeah.
Good to go.
Just take 5 wounds off all of them. Screw it. Right. What could be done to make stun better?
Stun in melee or stun grenades?
He just says stun.
So, I think stun in melee should probably do both benefits on the first hit.
Yes.
I don't really know
Yeah,
why
yeah.
you have to hit them twice, because anyone who you're hitting twice is dead. like
Yeah.
they die, right?
And melee is designed to be that way. It's designed
Yeah.
to be very lethal. You're not really supposed to survive it.
Like it's weird if
So
you
why
decide that you're
does
going
stun
to just
do that?
-1 APL to a dude.
Yeah.
I don't really know when it would happen, apart from maybe against like a stun melee against Galloppox is the only time I think it would crop up. Weird scenario.
Sure.
That's one thing I'd do. And in shooting, I think it's fine. I think the stun weapons in shooting is good. Maybe more lethal 5 stun if you wanted to make it more consistent.
Okay.
Stun grenades, I would be tempted to have a smaller area of effect, but make it so that it's more likely to happen. So rather than blast 2, make like here's 2 inches from a radius, make it 1 inch from a radius. so that it's
Okay,
only ever
yeah.
really going to hit 2 people maximum, and then make it happen on a 3-up or a 2-up.
I think stun grenades are dumb. There you go. Things happening randomly is such strange game design for
It's
kill
so
teams.
swingy. It's because
Yeah.
because if you hit an entire team with it and it's 2 inches,
Oh yeah.
and it needs to be visible as well.
Yeah.
Like the throwing it over the wall thing is annoying. If you hit a whole team, that's when it gets oppressive, and that's why
No,
you need
yeah,
to be.
yeah, yeah.
So again,
Sure.
that's why I think like if it was only 1 inch, immediately that makes it's less spammable and
Yep.
of a problem. And maybe you guarantee it, or you make it a 2-up or whatever.
Well,
In my game, that would be irrelevant, but
no. So this is another bugbear I have. In my view, there should be no you fail on a 1, right? If something fails on a 1 and succeeds on a 2-up,
it always fails.
it's just meant. No, well, no. Well,
It always fails.
It's just supposed to happen. The designer expects it to happen, and so the swing there is if you fail. I don't know. I think that's bad game design.
Well, you could do it where, like, if they're within 6 inches, add 1 to the result. If they're visible, add 1 to the result. If that,
Yeah,
and you
sure.
can add all those extra bits to mean
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it's a guaranteed if you fulfil all the criteria, and then if you don't fulfil all the criteria, then it's a minus whatever. So I prefer things like that where it's possible to auto pass if you meet certain criteria. That would be better. Or if you want to take more risk, then you can do, but it's inherently risky.
Yes, sure. Let's read chat because we still haven't been able to talk about what we were supposed to talk about. I am too slow at reading chat.
What were we supposed to talk about?
I don't know. Kill team. I don't know.
Are we not talking about kill team? Sorry,
I personally like the rock paper scissors component that certain matchups are harder for me if I take a team. He continues, equipment for specific matchups isn't a bad take though. Yeah.
Sitting on both sides of the fence there, Matt. Like,
Great.
I appreciate
it. Yeah. Can you sit on the fence any harder? Matthew Paul, do you think Flamers and Fusillade will have buffs? What would you, Ryan Andy, thank you, I'm here to, like to see both for those buffs? So Flamers and Fusillade.
You take it first, go on.
Oh, thank you.
It is your show.
Cheers. So, Fusillade obviously needs help. I think it should just be something like shoot again at something, or something like that. In its current form, it doesn't make any sense. It's almost like they wrote the rule before they had decided how defense dice work, because you would just never do it. Obviously, shame for command point. Did find out the literal one use of ever using Fusillade, which is to bait out the blooded. Have you heard about this? Yeah. Which I don't think is intended, therefore I'm not going to take that as a valid thing, but well done him. Obviously, it won him the game, I understand. Flamers, they need some help. The issue is Torrent. I understand what Torrent is trying to simulate. And I think that from that perspective, it does a decent job. But it's a really complicated rule, Torrent, to like sit down and explain. And ultimately, statistically, a flamer doesn't kill a 7-wound model.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably an issue. Much like a frag grenade probably isn't going to kill a 7-wound model. So why am I taking that over a plasma gun?
Flamers suck.
Yeah. Yeah. They need a buff, not just in Torrent. Torrent's probably fine, but in the Flamer profile, weirdly. But then that means that not all Torrent weapons. I realise he said Flamers, not, and I've changed that to mean Torrent. But that's because he said Fusillade, and so yeah. I think default Flamer should probably have 6 dice, I guess.
So
Instead of 5. Hit it on 2s.
Fusillade, I think, is an easy one.
Yeah.
Sniper Boy Avit, if you want to shoot multiple people, you can do so in an area, but you subtract attack dice from each of the one. And then Fusillade can have a number at the end of it, 1, 2, 3, whatever it is, and that's how much you subtract from your attack dice. So maybe Heavy Bolter is Fusillade 1, or whatever it is, and therefore,
I see. Okay.
if you shoot more people, or make it the other way around, maybe it's Fusillade 4 and you roll 4 attack dice. Whatever is more logical to people, I don't mind.
I guess, yeah.
But that then means, cool, if you want to split fire, you can do, but you're going to roll less dice.
Yeah. That's fair.
So that's one way of doing it, I think, for Fusillade.
Yeah.
And it gives you a bit more flexibility in game design to be able to say, like, how do I want this actually to work?
Yeah.
Like, do I want it, like, for instance, the Death Jester Torrent, should it be getting lethal 5 on Into the Dark? Doesn't really make much sense. Maybe that's actually a Fusillade weapon, and it's got a 5 next to it, so you can shoot at. Anyway.
Sure.
Gives you a bit more design choices there. Flamers in, like, as far as I'm concerned, in Warfare, are designed for, like, getting people out of positions, right? So, like, it's designed for, there is someone hiding in that building over there, here's a whole bunch of fire, it's going to find them and get them.
Yeah.
So they should be indirect, right? And you can have a range limitation on that. It could be indirect 3, it could be indirect 4, like, wherever it's going to be, but they should be indirect, and they should have no cover. So, like, it should be that weapon of, it's somewhat scary, but it can go up and do some stuff. They should also explode on death.
That'd be fun, yeah. They should all be bomb squids.
Just for thematics, that's it. You know the guy who gets shot and it's like sparking up and he spins around in circles and he blows up. That's just fun. That's
for a long time, I thought they should be indirect too. I'm not sure if I still think that.
Is it novitiates?
No.
Novitiates are the problem.
It's just indirect is really powerful, and well, I guess you could never take that many flamers, to be fair. So maybe. I don't think it would break the game if flamers were indirect. So if that was the change, I'd be like, okay.
There's certain teams where you would go, oh, we might have to tweak this, right? So like the Witch Seekers from Custodes and Sister Science in an Inquisition team, you would go, ooh, we probably done goof there, right? And you just go like,
no longer flamers.
Yeah, you're limited to one Witch Seeker, whatever it's going to be, right? Yeah. But I think that's a way of thematically doing what they should do. And again, I don't think you have to change the damage profile. They probably won't kill people, right? But at least you'll get someone, or you give them something like Splash. I quite like Splash as a rule that goes.
Splash is fun. Yeah.
That's my two sort of ideas. I think it is weird when you roll a crit with a flamer; it doesn't really do anything. I find that odd.
Well, yeah, it's harder to.
If it was like Splash 1,
it's harder to block. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but even if so, this might be my reason why I think flamers suck, even on ITD, by the way. Sure. I think they're great.
No, yeah.
Is you roll 5 dice, and let's say you get hit, crit. I roll my 5 up saves, and I get 2 saves. You don't go, oh, you rolled loads of crits, I'm screwed. You just go, I'll just get rid of the 2 normals, and I just will take 6 damage. Yeah. Because like the crit doesn't actually do anything.
No, that's fair. Maybe the crits should be +1
Splash 1 damage, like or 2, 3. Yeah, like I don't know. Just make it so it's a little bit more interesting.
Anything
better than 2 damage.
Yes.
Applies also to exaction squad and their batons. Why is it 2 damage?
So we now see just how slow we are. As Dan says, D&D rounds 6 seconds, 10 rounds each 1 minute. That's how far back we are in the chat.
All right. Okay. Wow. We need to catch up.
Yeah. Jason says something about he's ignoring me because I won't go to his tournaments, and I say vice versa. I won't go to your tournaments because you ignore me. It's not how that works, but time is flexible. Go for it. Pain says hello. Old Man 2 is Corsairs, how to make shurikens useful without overbuffing the AP weapons. I'd love to be able to 2-for-1 a few guardsmen with APL3, Kanathi, or Hunter.
So you want to make shuriken pistols better?
Shuriken weapons useful without overbuffing the AP weapons?
Is this like how so within a Corsair team, how you make the regular guys better without giving the whole team rerolls?
I don't really know what he's asking. I think shuriken weapons are fine, so I'm a touch confused. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe there's some, because I don't really play Corsairs, so I don't really know if there's a specific thing there.
The only issue is that they're...
but they're bolters with rending.
They're bolters with rending, they don't have rerolls. That's it. Okay. So the reason they're not very good is they don't have rerolls. I think... Okay. I don't think Corsairs are struggling, as I say, into the Horde teams. Maybe that's not a true statement. Maybe they are. That's unqualified. Okay. I'm going to hold off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Lock it down.
I would love them to have rerolls. Okay. They probably would get super strong if they had rerolls. So therefore, they're in the perfect middle of...
Corsairs are 50-50. They don't need a buff.
This is it.
Like, they're literally the perfectly balanced team.
There is one thing, thematically, that Deadly Ambush should work on Conceal.
Yep, agreed.
I don't understand why it doesn't. That's it. And Birdman should
I'm not even sure it doesn't. It was never answered, was it?
No, it's because it's a free charge, and you can only do a
Yeah,
charge
yeah.
action, irrespective of it being free or not, on engage.
Okay. All right.
Which it only has very niche cases in
Yes.
like Into the Dark now,
Yeah.
which was never when it was designed for.
Yeah.
So,
Bart says the exaction AP ammo could get hot for greater flavour.
oh, yeah, every rolls. Do
Odd Man Tours, I've long struggled with how useless shuriken weapons are on Corsairs. Okay, so I get it, right. I think he's talking about... No, he's not. Okay, move on. I thought, sorry. I assume that all Corsairs have like a shuriken pistol they can also use instead of their main weapon. They don't need to use it. They have another purpose.
It's a classic thing of every time you go to shoot someone with a shuriken, it doesn't seem to kill people.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
massively
Neither does a
spiky.
bolter.
Like, yeah.
Oddly, they're not meant to. Odd as that sounds. Adolfo de la Mora. So I plan on going to the big Kill Team tournament at Adepticon in Chicago next March. I need to start building a team. Should Exaction Squad be a good all-rounder? Also, any ideas on the display base?
I have currently no.
Yeah.
So like currently they're not a good all-rounder.
Probably not.
They're a really fun team. You'll enjoy them.
Yeah.
They're not a good all-rounder. So,
No.
and the reason is, as we talked about, they hurt versus elites. Their win rate's pretty bad, isn't it? 40%?
It's not great. I think the main issue with them, as discussed, is they're not great into elites. Elites just kind of stomp them, and you will always come across elites because new players play elites, and as we were kind of just talking about a little bit off camera earlier, the majority of players are not top tier competitive players taking the absolute best thing. They're people taking Space Marines because Space Marines are cool.
Yeah.
And so Exaction Squad are going to have a really, really tough time. It doesn't mean that they can't win tournaments, but you are always going to have a difficult tournament because you will have to face durable, strong teams that don't have good damage profiles in that you don't have good damage profiles into.
So, yeah, I don't know. When in March is Adepticon? Let us know when Adepticon is in March.
January, February, March. Isn't that Gen Con in March?
Don't know. Let us know.
I thought, okay, yeah, I don't know.
Because I might want to go to that.
I was
Chicago's a cool
considering
city.
going to Gen Con this year.
Is it in Chicago? I just quite like Chicago.
I've got literally got no idea. But yeah.
I don't know what
Maybe.
the best all-rounder is, to be honest, at the moment. And things like Inquisition are... Yeah, at the moment it's Commandos, just make Commandos.
Yeah.
They're not boring at all.
I mean, Intercession are great. Like, you can't go that far.
Intercession are good. They can't get nerfed again. Like they got needlessly nerfed last time. Well, of
they're
course
not.
Ryan.
They're not dominating tournaments.
No.
So they're probably fine.
And their pick rate's dropped.
Yeah.
So maybe they get a buff. Bring back my methodical.
Otherwise, I'd probably say like Intercession or Legionary.
Legionary's good fun.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll
But
get
they
into
are
this later
good.
on.
They might get it.
Zinch Legionary. Zinch Slanesh is the new. I
It's
think
the new Nurgle.
the new meta,
Okay.
but I got sold it by Mateusz,
Yeah.
and I'm on board. I'm on Team Zinch
Okay.
now,
Cool.
and Slanesh.
Nice.
So
Gin and the Sheep. Worth jumping onto the GHD Discord as there's players on with loads of experience who can help. That's in reference to Old Man 2 is regarding Corsairs, Shurikens. That's me in the sub. Trust me, I'm here. Just wanted to hear it discussed. Oh, so
can we just tell Jin that you also need to sell my Patreon as an option as well? It's not just
That's true.
It's like
That's true.
like
If you want
what am I
another
paying you for,
Discord
Jin?
option, there is also the Turning Point Tactics Discord, which is paid for. And if anything, you get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for.
I think that's fair to say.
We'll have bad things we pay for.
But you're right. You guys are giving me anxiety about a new edition right when I was semi-motivated to paint.
It's
I
Games
don't
Workshop,
know.
but
I don't know what to say.
what
We have no idea.
What I would say is, having spoken to the game designer a bit, it seems like Kill Team.
He says buy more shit.
Yeah,
Just buy.
buy.
If you don't buy, I lose a job.
Buy
Buy
in
more.
quantity. Kill Team seems to have more freedom and flexibility than Big 40k does. So
Sure.
because
Yeah.
basically the company lives and dies on Big 40k.
Yeah.
So they are like, they do not want people to mess with the secret source. And so that they do things and it's very corporate made decisions.
Yeah.
Whereas it appears for Kill Team, it's slightly less so. It's a bit more of a creative person's decision. So they get to actually do what they want to do and grow the community in the game the way they want to do it. and so long as they keep selling miniatures and it keeps going up, they kind of get left alone. So now that's not to say that a man in a business suit comes in and says, "Yay, capitalism! We're making more money by just ditching all that plastic." That could happen, right? So
I mean exactly that. Big 40K, it has a lot of grandfathered in issues.
Yeah.
Kill Team, because it's so new and fresh, and in the past has just been totally new editions every 40K edition, so that people had a version of Skirmish to play. But only this edition has become a thing, a staple, supported as well as the other big things they put out. So this edition was completely different game to the last edition. There's nothing to say they won't do that again. We don't believe they will. From everything we're hearing, it's going to be minor iterations, much like Warcry was this time, where it went from a game to a slightly different game with a minor new tweak to it, but they kept everything else from the last edition. From what we hear through the grapevine, that's what they're going to do to Kill Team this time, but officially we're still a year away from that and we don't actually know. So there you go. And we won't know until they start that hype cycle, a month before it happens.
A lot of the decisions come down to production lines and that sort of stuff. It's all about warehouse stock and that sort of thing. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. We're quite small fish in the grand scheme of GW, I think.
Yeah. Jin says, by the way, Andy, sounds like you missed out Factorum today. Inquisition won out, but they seem to have fun. Was this... He's called McSnarky, right? Your friend from Bristol. I believe he went, right, Jin? Did he win again?
We could have played at Factorum.
Yeah. I considered saying it to you, but I was like, no, we're doing other stuff. Let's not.
We have a live stream to be late for.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Kill Team Granada says, oh, hi guys. Hello.
Oh, hey.
John, how's it going? Jin Sheep, hey. My two is, why not just add indirect to all weapons with torrent? No.
Because, oh god.
Because there are other weapons that have torrent that are doing just fine.
Can you imagine the Death Jester?
Indirect. Full ball, indirect.
Could be problematic.
Jason, Flamer suck, but Ryan made good use for Flamer against my Felgor, keeping the good secrets to himself.
That was a Weber. That is a different thing.
Oh, Hits on 3.
This is lies, right? This is lies. It's a lethal 5 Weber, useful for killing goats that are frenzied. You spray foam on them and say, calm down, and then they go to sleep.
You get that crit.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, 5 attacks.
Yeah.
Looking for a single 5. Well, they need to save
so
as well.
4 ones and a 2.
4 ones and a 2, because that's my dice.
Yeah. Gin and the Sheep. Worth saying, Exaction just aren't a nice team to play. They're hugely taxing on your cognitive loads, and the lack of GO2 makes them painful to play when they're most effective. I can't read the final word. In pairs. Oh man, so it was low indirect gestures. So. Returning point tactics, my win rate with Corsair skyrocketed from 50% to 50% since being. Nice. Yeah, classic. Oh my god, we're at the end of the chat. So.
We actually caught up.
Just.
Wow.
Just. Only took an hour and 40 minutes to
catch it.
Nobody's left in the chat, that's why. Okay, cool. Did you have anything to touch on at the end there? Exaction just aren't a nice team to play. That seems a bit harsh. I will agree that they're not... I think you get that with any low-level team, though.
Low-strength team.
Yeah, sorry, low-tier team, because you always have things to do. You always have, this guy's got lethal 5, this guy's got stun, this guy's got something. And it's like, right. And so when I actually play all of that correctly, I'm into intercession and you've wrecked me. It's like, how is this meant to go right? And that's just, yeah.
So I enjoy playing Exaction, but, and this is why I think they're interesting, because they're a team which you have to learn every matchup, because you cannot take the same matchup into each game. You can't take the same strategy. You have to change it. And for instance, the mirror plays completely differently to anything you've ever played before ever. So I enjoyed that problem solving.
Has there ever been 2 Exactions World at a tournament?
there has. They're a weirdly popular team. I played the mirror 3 times.
Oh wow!
I was like, this needs to stop happening.
Yeah.
We've got to stop meeting like this. But yeah, so yeah, from that point of view, like they're a very interesting team and how they play. I quite enjoy them. I just don't like the elite matchup. Just kind of sucks.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
But as Jin says, like they're a high like load team. So you're constantly thinking like, how I said that high cognitive load. That's what I meant to say. They're a big load team. So anyway, sort of talking about police batons and their loads.
Yeah. We just slipped out. Yeah, sure.
So yeah, that part of it is difficult. And what I would say is every single time I played a game with them, I never had a game which I thought I've absolutely crushed my opponent. Like, even if you play everything right and your opponent makes loads of mistakes, you still win by like 2 or 3 points.
Gotcha.
And they've got some weird interactions. Like their leader is the most important model on the board because he's your win condition with the Nuncio Aquila.
Yeah.
And their abilities are really hard to set up. So there are some pros and cons there. But like they're fun to play. They are fun to play.
That's good.
Yeah.
So this chat's done. Here's a question for you. As a prominent YouTuber in the kill team scene.
Slowly growing.
Prominent or problematic, who knows? What do you think, for you, has been your worst ever take?
Ooh.
That somebody can go back and say, no. I think I've got two. For me, it just came to me while I was ignoring what you were saying and reading chat.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah.
I would ignore me too as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
Well, you go for your first one, and I'll think about my second.
Okay.
My
so I think, very bad take from me is Fast Riders after they got buffed. So they got like an extra model and some other stuff. I can't remember what. And I said, I think this is too much. I think that they're going to be a really dominant team now. Nobody's ever won with them.
This is crew.
Yeah, crew. Yeah. So I said this was too much. The rules designers don't know what they're doing. This is insane. Have they never played the game? And yeah, I obviously got that very wrong, apparently. So that's on me. Chat, if you can think of any worse takes than that I've said, let me know. Yeah. I think I've got one more, but how about yourself?
I guess tier lists are an interesting one for me, because I also released a tier list, and I think commandos were like in C or
F tier.
B tier.
Okay.
Like, they're quite low. At the time, there were only 10 models, and no one was really playing them.
I think we get easily tricked when people aren't playing a team.
Yeah. It's like easy to not think about it.
Yeah.
And so I sort of had this thing where I was like, I think they're better than that.
Sure.
But I didn't have like the confidence to say
that
team's really, really broken and really, really good.
Yeah.
So I sort of was just like, well, no one, everyone else seems to think they're the C tier, so they're probably C tier.
I have definitely.
And then they ended up getting buffed, and it was like, oh my god, what happened?
Yeah.
And then we see all the other problems that come out of it as a result.
Yeah. But I've had that in like, we've all put, Hearthkin F tier, bottom tier, then they go and win the tournament.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I think
crap.
people with Phobos as well, like Phobos was, everyone thought they were S tier when they came out, then they went down to being like F tier, and then people started winning with them, and then they haven't had that much change, really. I mean, they've had a few, well, they have actually quite a few buffs, but the missions have changed more than anything else, so. But yeah, it's hard to say. So I guess with being a content creator, I'm very hesitant to put a definitive stance on anything, because
not me.
Well, the reason is because like the answer to like almost everything in life is like context matters, nuance matters. Like the answer to everything is it depends. Like, and you can read that across to so many different things, right? So it's very rare where you say this is the way it should be done and this is the single answer, right? Unless you have like a mathematical certainty. So a lot of people want to take the subjective and get a definitive answer from you.
Yeah.
And that's really difficult from a content creator point of view, because you've got to go, well, you'll say something like, I think in this scenario this is good. And then the comments will come back and go, well, you haven't considered this. And you go like, yeah, that's a different scenario, right? And so it's like, yeah, I know, in that scenario you're right, it's wrong. And it's like, well, what about this? And you go, yeah, you can make almost infinite scenarios where I'm wrong, but there's like also infinite scenarios where it's right. So
people do like to argue like that.
They love it, right? And they love to catch you out on the thing that you said.
Yes.
They go, this is the one.
Yep.
So
that that is true. Man, I just completely disagree. I mean, no, I agree with what you're saying.
Definitive statement.
But yeah, just say them. Nobody that's what people want, and you're probably right.
People what
there
they
you go.
want.
Yeah, I give the people what they want, which is definitive statements with zero backing, zero facts behind them, but then they get to argue with me in the comments, and that's good for everybody.
There you go.
Right. Yeah.
What we need is more inflammatory comments and more arguments.
Yes.
Bring on the flame war.
So then, my other poor statement was, I kind of rated Colts as not being very good. I have to go back and listen, but it's not that I said, oh, this is a bad team. But obviously I did not catch how good they were. I had seen Felgore, and I called those correctly. I was like, this frenzy's nuts. And arguably I overstated that a little bit. Like, I don't think it was actually as nuts as it probably ended up being. And then Colts, so here's why. Foolishly, I played them as a practice game before I talked about them. Never do that. Just go with your first read on a book and say, yeah, there you go. I played them. I get into Commanders and I got smashed. I got tabled. And I was like, oh, these aren't very good then, are they? But on my first read through, just looking at the 15 models. Okay, yeah, they're probably pretty good. Feel no pains. Okay, they're probably pretty good.
Health generation, damage reduction.
But then when I played them, I got wrecked. I was like, oh, maybe my first read was wrong. Okay. And I was like, no, Andy, you're a terrible player. Come on, ignore your experience.
It's me.
Yeah. Don't know what I was thinking on that one.
I'm the problem. Yeah.
There you go.
It is tough though. Like, it is tough to take and people want it. They want your hot take straight away on what a team is, and like
they love it hot. Yeah.
And the difficulty is to say like, if you just say to people, I'm not really too sure yet. They go, as that's not. They say that's not very good content. They want more of a, give me the hot take right now.
Yeah.
I want it to be like divisive and whatever.
Yes.
So they can talk about it, and debate about it.
Sure. Which is, I think, a perfectly valid thing that a channel can bring to a. Like, I'm not a good player, but I am more than happy to read about Kill Team a lot and see what other people are saying and translate that or transfer that to other people. It doesn't have to be my statement. Like, if everybody online is talking about, oh, Commanders are totally broken, but then I'm smashing my locals Commandos players, well, I'm still going to say Commanders are totally broken, right?
I think it's useful as well. You want to have, this is why I think what I'm trying to do now is bring fewer people onto the show to show different opinions, because I think it is important, because often we can get lost in the, what do a small group of people think, and you get this sort of like group think where everyone talks about it online in a certain way, and everyone goes, oh, this is the thing, and you go, right, this is now the agreed like perception of a team based on a collective experience. When you haven't had that, someone else just go, actually, I think you're wrong, and this is why, and X, Y, and Z, which is useful. You need a bit of that, I think. So
YBFC 311, greetings from down under. Just jumped on. Hello.
Whereabouts are they from? Are they from
down under?
Are they from like the Sydney group? Do they know Liam, and do they know Alexa and Christine? I don't know. That's a question.
Well, they haven't told me that. They've just said down under.
Well, that's why.
And done a salute emoji. Yes.
Because I learned all about Westies and Bogans.
Okay, they taught you.
And Smoko.
Maybe if they'd played the fucking game instead of talked for an hour, they'd have not had to do a 4-hour game.
6-hour game.
Yeah.
Should I spin that dit? That's quite a good dit.
Let me just get to it. McFloss again, been gone picking up my Legions Imperial stuff. Did I miss anything good? No. Gin of the Sheep, it's been good, wall to wall. Got to go back and rewatch. Okay, yeah. Go back and rewatch. There you go.
There you go.
Yes.
From an independent source, they have said it was good.
Who is in no way affiliated with either of us.
We have no vested interest here.
Yes. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Tell us your
So we
your
get
story
to
of betrayal.
the final day of champs, right?
Yeah.
I've done, whatever was that, 7 games at that point, I think. It's a bit of a blur.
Yeah.
Against Keekums, guy from Spain, lovely dude.
Oh,
right?
it was Keekums.
Yeah, and he's a really nice dude.
Telling.
So
Okay.
you're reading into it now. Obviously, it's Commandos because that's why.
Is there another team?
And we're playing Loot, because that's what I deserve on open board.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. So I say to him at the start, like, this is your game, right? Like, but I said, I want to make you work for it, and I want to make you like an enjoyable game for you, so you have a real challenge. And so we go into this game, we're playing it out. We finished the turning point 4 after whether it's 3.5 hours, 3 hours 45, whatever.
Okay, just sorry. Why would your game take that long? You're just brushing past it.
Yeah,
You're just like, so we finished the game in 3.5 hours. I think you're missing the point. Sorry, carry on.
It was like because it was those things. So you're there just to play kill team, right? So it's weird, and because you've been given, and also there was like no time limit for the game. They basically just said, before awards ceremony, which is like 7 p.m.
Okay.
You need to play your game, right?
So you took that as a challenge. You took that personally.
So it's like cool. I've got to play a game, and I think we just played. It was 3 games the day before.
Yeah.
And I was like, he said, "Oh, when do you want to play it?" And I said, "Should we just play it tomorrow?" And he's like, "Yeah, sounds great." We said, "Let's have a lie-in because we can get up really early every day, and we'll play at 10, right? So we can sleep in till 9, get breakfast, and play kill team."
Yeah.
So we start at 10 o'clock, and then obviously roll on 4 hours later, we're not finished. We've played straight through lunch, right? And so that's the weird thing about this tournament is that you can just go to the toilet. You can be like, all right, let's just pause there for 10 minutes whilst you go.
Oh, just walk off.
Go get a beer, whatever. Like do whatever you want to do. Come back and be like, right, we're back in it because you have so long, right? And everyone's measuring and pre-measuring and doing 100 different things.
People are measuring.
Yeah, I know.
Noobs.
Right? Like those whack gamers out there trying to measure their way to victory. So anyway, so we're doing that. It's a draw. In the top 8, you cannot have draws, right? Sure. So you can't have a draw in the top 8. So we go to Elliot, the judge.
Elliot,
Elliot,
what have we done?
Elliot, I don't know how, but I've managed to come in a draw against Commandos. What happens now? And he's like, cool. And all my guys have died by this point. And it was annoying because if I won initiative on turning point 4, I would have won, which is lost it, draw.
Right.
Fine. So I was like, cool. What do we do now? And basically, you ignore all the current VP and TAC ops, and you just go down to, at the end of that next turning point, you play a 5th turning point. Turning point 5 is actually a thing.
Yeah.
At the end of that turning point, whoever owns the most objective, controls the most objective, wins. And there's like 6 orcs left and about 4 Star Striders. Okay. So I'm like,
yeah,
this game's done.
Quick.
Right?
Easy.
He has his sniper boy, whiffs. Shoot back with the architect beam, kill a guy. Right. Shoot back with Electro priest, kill it, Electromeister, kill a guy. And I'm like, this is going well. like we're having a bit of a reversal. Anyway, turning point ends, 3-3, it's a draw. Elliot, like we did the thing you said, and we drew again. What do we do? And it's like, right, you got to do the same again for another turning point.
Okay,
and it's like, cool,
keep going.
play out all of turning point 6. You're seeing where this is going, right? Kill a bunch of guys die, whatever. It's a draw. Okay. So at this point, Elliot is fully invested. Like he is now at the table. He's like, I want to see what goes on. Right?
I'm sure you guys are doing this wrong. I'll watch it.
You must be cheating or something. Yeah. And so
collusion.
The next thing after that is basically you have to play another turning point. If it keeps going on like this, we'll have to start removing objective markers. So like you're forced, because you might be in a scenario where 3 of you are just holding objective markers, and then you don't want to move because if you leave an objective marker and don't kill the guy, you lose. That sort of stuff.
Sure.
And loads of wild dice rolls are happening. Like I rolled 3 crits and a hit, and he managed to roll all of his saves to keep the guy alive and just a scratch because that's totally not broken game mechanic. It's fine.
No, it's fine.
And so we go through. But anyway, on turning point 7, eventually I lose one of my guys. I'm down to 2 operatives. He still holds 3 objectives. Yeah. The game ends, and it's been like 6.5 hours of kill team. And I realised that I played a single game in the time it takes to play an entire tournament. I was like, this was a wild game. However, I will say this: even though it was ridiculously long, it was such a fun game. Like Keekins and I had an absolute blast. Yeah. He did some really good moves. We're being like, because neither of us really cared. I didn't think too much about it.
No, sure.
But we were both cared in the sense that we wanted to have a good game. But we're fighting for 7th and 8th, right? Like, it's like I mean, come on, like, what are we playing for here? Yeah. Semantics. So, like, you know, we did these moves and we were complimenting each other. We're having good fun. We're joking a bit, laughing. Like, when it's a ridiculous dice roll, either way, it's funny. We're laughing about it. Yeah. And that was a really good vibe. So it was a really good game to end the tournament on. Although also it was 6.5 hours long. and went to turning point 7. But
Yeah.
yeah, so turning point 5 is now actually a valid thing. GW endorsed turning point 5.
This
And
exists,
if you want to
I
watch
promise.
turning point 5, it's available on my YouTube channel.
That's right. It is.
Segues.
Luckily, it's not as boring as a 7-hour game. Well, sure. You know,
It's got
never say
Jason on
never.
it.
Yeah. Awesome. So we're approaching 2 hours. We've got 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's probably enough for a live stream. How's it going? Do you want to anything else to say? There's no chat. They've all gone.
Are we allowed to swear?
I've sworn a few times. Yeah, go for it.
Fuck Commandos, fuck Colts.
Yeah,
like-
those were things we were meant to talk about, but I just read chat.
That's it, because
My bad.
man, those teams. Like, so I'll
Yeah.
just quickly go through how I think that those teams could be
Do it.
solved. Commandos, forward deploy needs to be once again, immediately. Just to scratch needs to be either 1+ CP, or only work versus normal damage.
Andor's a good show, though. You should watch it.
And slash or not Star Wars reference, promise. So getting rid of those two things, because even if you get rid of the forward deploy,
Yep.
like as Shane said on command point, Hearthkin, turn that off anyway. It's still an awful matchup for them because they just go just a scratch every
Yeah,
time
sure.
you have any big damage,
Yeah.
and it just screws the team.
I mean, as you said before we got on, if you ask a Commandos player, what do you use your CP at? There is no deviation. You forward deploy
the top
twice,
tables,
and you use four
Always the same.
just a scratch.
Like every game, it's the same game plan. It's
Yep.
I spend 2 on my forward deploys, I shush once per game,
Yeah.
and I have 4 just a scratch, and that's all they do.
Yeah.
And for me, that's really boring that people just do the same thing every time.
Yes.
I don't think that's fun. So they need to change that, and it's not just on those missions. So yeah, and also get 11 activations. Why? Like just make them back to 10. Like either GA2 the little guys or just chop a body again. I don't mind, but
Okay.
they do not need to have that many bodies. That's
Yeah, sure.
tough.
Yeah.
And just a scratch and forward deploy and 11 activations.
Yeah.
It's gross. So that's the commandos.
Okay.
Chaos Colts. I mean, so many thoughts. Like, and how you try and fix this team.
Yeah.
I think one of the big issues is, particularly on the capture mission, is their ability just to completely deny you points.
Okay.
And I don't like that. Like,
Okay.
so it's no penalty to them. So I'm wondering, do you make it so that the mutants count as 1 APL less for objective control, which can be cancelled out with the sickening, their strategic ploy,
Okay.
and you make it so that torments counts 2 less for objective control. They're not controlling the objective, they're just killing stuff.
Okay.
Right? That then stops them doing the thing at the end of the game, where on turning point 4, they just launch torments forwards onto objectives
Right.
and just take them away from you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Because you're -1 to your objective control, their objective control 2, they neutralise it, you score 0 points on capture on turning point 4. Unless something's gone amazingly well for you, you always score 0,
Sure.
which just completely,
Why bother?
yeah, it ruins your game. Because they go 2 points turn 1, 2 points turn 2, 4, 4, and you go 4, 4, 0, 0.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I think the mutation, you should need to kill people rather than do damage. I think that would be some good changes. If you do those, that solves their capture problem. That solves them getting too many torments too early. I think that might work. But yeah.
Okay. Were there any other teams? Like,
To
we
nerf
also didn't.
or buff.
Well, we didn't. We never talked about buffing a team. I feel we have to briefly. Is there a team that you feel like, yeah, they for some reason aren't good? We need to stop them.
So, a few things that I would like to see changed. Talked about Exaction Squad. Talked about how I'd fix those. I think
Yes.
that's enough.
Okay.
Give that to them for now. See how they perform. Change it as needs be.
Yeah, sure.
Corsairs, change that dash ploy, the free charge. That'd be nice. The rest of it, don't think they need to change it too much.
Quick question on the exaction. Do you think they should do more with their?
Attack profile or shields.
Well, no, that's a whole other. I was going to say their arrest mechanic. Seems a
Yeah.
bit nothing.
I think
At the end, it's a cool idea, great concept, but actually, is it ever used?
no. It's not. And
No.
so, it's again, the threshold of 7 wounds is difficult. The fact
I
that
understand they don't want an Arbites to ever be arresting a Marine.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay. But
maybe 8. Like, make the threshold 8, right? You can put cuffs on Eldari. They're only slender.
just put it 11.
yeah.
One below a Marine.
Something like that.
It's like, okay. Although, obviously, that doesn't help them against elites, the thing they can't beat.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a bit of an issue. But yeah, okay.
And also the fact that, so their handcuffs are 2 equipment points, I think.
Yeah.
And when you compare that to turning off rerolls for 1, I just don't know when you ever take it.
Yeah.
So the only person that's doing it is Castigator, who can do against 10 wounds anyway. And, well, they just beat them up in combat and kill them. So it's like, when are you not killing someone? So that's my only thing. Quality of life, make their maces hit on 3s, because I'm never using the attack profile, only ever using defensive. So make the attack do something different. That's that. Wormblade.
Yes.
I would like to see more cult agents.
Okay.
I think.
Would it be? They're still all
penalty.
2 slots. Okay. So
I think it'd be more interesting, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. Although, if you do that, in reality, all it's going to do is everyone is then going to drop 2 dudes for the Locust?
Yeah, so that you'll have generically Kelemorph, Locust, and Sniper.
Because that
And
talent
then-
with a knife, literally the worst. It's like, why?
But,
you will never take it.
Like, against elites on ITD, you might go, actually, having another 3A per body that can test objectives and isn't that bad is better than, like, a Flamer or whatever,
Yeah,
you know?
I agree.
I think that would give the team more options, more flexibility without actually changing too much. And you don't have to buy any models, you don't have to change the rules too much, just say roster choice. The limit on cult agents is now 4. Done. Or start with 3 and then go to 4 if they're still buffing. What other teams are there?
So quickly from the chat. So somebody points out Blooded needed nerf, question mark. We were talking briefly earlier about, you said you'd never want to make definitive statements because you never know.
Yeah.
Blooded. Literally, everybody agreed the worst team in the game.
Yeah.
No, they were not. They got no buffs. Nothing in the meta changed that affected them either.
The meta changed around them. Is how I describe it. And I think people then learn how to play them as well.
Yeah, no, that's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was.
The team itself stayed stagnant.
Yes.
And the world around them changed.
So yeah, they got real good.
Map design got generically more friendly for their melee optives.
That's fair. That's fair. I hadn't considered that.
So like that's one thing that happened. Another thing that happened is their worst matchups got toned down quite significantly, which helped.
Do they need a nerf?
Do they need a nerf? I don't think they do. What I'm trying to do is, in my mind, I'm trying to see a world in which commandos and cults come down. Who rises to the top? I think probably Blooded do quite well as a result, but I don't think they need a nerf. Like, I'm happy with Breachers, Blooded, Vet Guard, Harlequins, Starstriders rising to the top of the meta.
Okay.
I think that's fine. I think Legionary up there as well.
Yeah.
I think Legion's
I think
good.
that's fair.
I think Intercession is just below right now. So I think that's fine. I don't think that's a bad meta to be in. And I don't think, like, one of the things that's enjoyable about Blooded is when you play them, they want to die, and when they die, they reward themselves and they reward, like, you.
Yeah. So you feel good getting kills.
You feel good
like
getting
that.
kills.
Yeah.
They feel good getting kills. The game's explosive. It's interesting. They're locked into Seek and Destroy, so you know how they're going to.
You know what they're doing. Yeah.
I think a lot of people with Blooded don't realise how you got to play against Blooded, which is on turn 1 and turn 2 is kill Blooded tokens so they don't get Gaze of the Gods. Like,
yeah.
if you take out their key operatives with Blooded tokens, and they're then left with some regular dudes, they just fall apart, real easy. So I personally don't think they're that strong. I think they're I think they're strong. I don't think they're too strong.
Okay.
Stand by to be corrected.
Yes. Well, we were all wrong about them before, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, if you had to pick one more team to be buffed, thoughts? For me, Fast Stalkers.
Oh yeah, Crew.
As mentioned, despite how incredibly wrong I was before, they just haven't performed ever, really. I don't think they can't, I think they have what they need to do things, but it's the people that are currently playing them, they have to play a really boring game. You score real good turn 1 and 2, and then just hope you do die, but you hope that you kind of manage to scratch on for long enough, but inevitably you can't, apparently. That's a bit dull, perhaps?
It's a boring play style.
Because you're not good at killing. You just can't do it. You don't have the stats.
Which is, isn't engaging and fun.
No.
And they have a similar issue. They really struggle into elites. But they also just lack teeth. So as you say, they don't have much offensive capability. I think there's a whole bunch of stuff you could do. The hunting knives, where it's like 4 or 5 damage with the equipment, maybe make that accessible to more than just the leader. So you can actually have some decent melee options.
Sure. With that many operatives, it's easy to say, oh, we've accidentally made a very killy swarm. So I understand why they're
hesitant.
touch on that, but
because having like 13 models with 4 or 5 damage would be crazy. Like no one's ever done that before. GW.
Exactly.
Looking at you, Pathfinders, you know who you are. So I think that'd be a good change. Some of the methods of making their playstyles more interesting, either equipment or abilities more focused around their tougher matchups against elites. Because they're a rock, paper, scissors team, right? They do fine into most teams, apart from...
It's an interesting one, because if you know nothing about them, and you just look at their ploys, their stats, etc., they should do good into elites, because a lot of their ploys are all of your guys get a reroll against that.
Yeah.
And it's like, thematically, it makes sense. They're a hunting pack trying to take down the biggest prey. Cool. But yeah, it just doesn't work.
It's like everything hits on 4s, and it's like you get one reroll hitting on 4s, and you're like, well, it's against 3-up armor, it's no AP, so it's just bounces off.
Yep.
So you then try and get in melee, and your guys are so weak in melee, you just punch against armor,
2,
and you do
3 damage.
and then they just kill you.
It's terrible.
So they beat you in shooting, and they beat you in melee. So you're like, well, where's the... And then you have 1 AP, 2 weapon, which is the flamer, which is so telegraphed, everyone sees it from a mile off, and it does 10 damage. And so you flame a guy, and you go, are you still there? And they go, yeah.
Yeah.
You go,
and it's torrent, baby, which means it's only hitting 1 model.
Yeah, because everyone just spaces out. Because why would they put, why would an elite player put 2 models within torrent range of your flamer? Like that, if they are giving you the game if you do that. Even then, I still don't know if you win it. Because you'll hit those 2, do 10 damage to them both, and then you'll die.
I did that once. So I got a torrent shot on 3 of his phobos.
Oh, God.
He still beat me. And I rolled well. It's not like I fluffed the roll.
Fair.
That was I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, I think they're a tough team because, again, they're not strong. You've got no durability. You've got no decent attacks. And they will do a weird little thing. And if you're placing them in the wrong place, right, if you're not threat matching or whatever, it's like, you've... Not only are you naturally weak, but you haven't put what you need where you need it. So now you're even worse. So that's quite challenging. I think they would be easy to fix. But how? Or sorry, what is the way to fix them that doesn't go too far? Is obviously the art of game design.
Yeah. And keeps them thematic. Because just giving them you can have a las cannon or a multi-melter would be that'd be cool, but it's actually it's not thematic with what the team is, right? So
no.
I think the Tribalist thing could be better.
Because it's one or the other, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So why would you take the thing that hits on 4s?
Yeah, and it's you have to keep it alive. It's 5 attacks and it hits on 4s. I don't know. Maybe it's something to do with how the leader's ability works. You get a reroll and +1 ballistic skill, make the gunners better. I don't know.
I think there's something in there. It could be as simple as every time a model. A little bit of bookkeeping here. But every time a model kills one of your guys, you get to... Everyone just automatically gets...
Additional one to hit or something.
Yeah, whatever. Some buff, balanced, retain, whatever. Like maybe that's the way to go instead of you having to specifically do it.
Well, that'd be cool. Like for the Vengeance for the King band, if
Yeah.
every model that model kills, kind of like grudge tokens, you can
Yes.
retain a hit.
Yeah.
Because then if you've got a guy that's like
Essentially
killed
grudge
4
tokens.
people, you just retain all 4 hits.
Yeah.
Like, that would be
yeah,
quite
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, that could work.
That could work with the Tri-Blast as well. 5 attacks, be like,
Nice.
here's a whole bunch of retains.
Yeah.
Eat it.
So I think there's something there
Mm.
that they could be fixed. That's it. I've obviously given up on Warp Coven. Screw 'em. They don't need buffs. Anything else? I don't think so. I think those are the key ones, to be honest.
Yeah.
Everything. Kazakin.
Kazakin.
I think they're fine at the end of the day. They're relatively mid-tier with some good matchups, but a lot of bad ones. But they're not.
I think they're struggling into the Horde meta. They do well against the
Yeah,
resistance,
yeah, tough.
that's it. I think they need.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
somebody in my Patreon asked how would you buff them. I think I probably came up with a good idea there that for a ploy CP strap ploy, you can shoot your
twice,
hot shot
yeah.
weapons twice.
Giving them like
Something like that.
They have to take a trooper at the moment. Giving them the option to take the other gunner would be nice.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like the hot shot
That's
volley
fair.
gun, because like at that point,
Yeah,
you've got a melter gun, you've got a plasma gun, you've got a sniper. Like
yeah. You
little
don't
grenade
need to
launcher.
have troopers automatically
yeah,
or
like,
mandatory.
why can't they take a hot shot volley
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
gun?
That's fair.
That would help them a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the 4th slot, or whatever you want to call it, the 5th slot,
Yeah.
isn't the oppressive slot.
No.
It's usually the weapon that's least taken.
Yes. Yeah,
I don't know what else you could do with them. I would personally just like their ploys to be less convoluted, like less caveats in their ploys.
they do have a lot going on there.
It's it's like clearance sweep. Select a location. If
Yeah.
your enemy's in range of that location, and your guys in range of that location,
Oh yeah.
you
yeah,
get like
yeah.
1 elite point. And I'm like what? Like just make it so like select a location. If an enemy's within range of it, you get an elite point. Done. Like
Sure.
remove
Yeah,
the
yeah.
caveats. There's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
many caveats, right? Where it's like.
Sure.
If they're not in cover and they're on engage order and the moon was blue yesterday, like
Then
you
they
can get a reroll. It's like
For
what?
sure.
Like just give them rerolls.
yeah. Yeah.
Remove all those caveats and they'll be because they could be the simple but fun mid-tier, mid-size
Sure.
team to play.
Human-
It's like
yeah.
Intercession will be your elites, Kazakin would be the 10 model team,
Yeah.
and then you have a 14 model team, which probably doesn't exist yet. Like of simple to play, maybe Vet Card, I don't know.
Sure.
But like you then have the different archetypes, and people can go, oh, I want to play I'm new to the game.
Yes. What do I do?
Choose Kazakin if you want to play 10 models.
So I agree. Kazakin are clearly supposed to be that team because you've got that elite point system, and you've got ways to get rerolls.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, cool. I've got dice manipulation. I can consistently do what I want as long as I don't overspend on elite points, and that feels good for a new player. It feels like even if you whiff dice, you can push the crit through. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, they have a lot going for. Stretch BB, thoughts on Hearthkin? Do they need another buff?
Wait and see is my personal opinion. I think Hearthkin are being held back by commandos a lot. They're all 8 wounds. Commandos can sit and conceal, wait for them to move forwards and can charge them from ranges that they can't reach. Because just quite simply, the commando sits in conceal 8 inches away from you and can charge you. You sit on conceal behind your barricade and you can't move within 2 inches of them to shoot them, but they can charge you.
Yeah, sure.
Rinse and repeat 10 times across the battlefield. They kill 10 dwarves before you kill. It sucks. So they're held back by that matchup particularly. But
Everybody's playing commandos.
And everyone's playing
So you're not
commandos.
seeing them
So like you just see them
win.
get whacked a lot during tournaments.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're a bad team. And I think they have a lot of play. And I think maybe when these 2 nerfs come out, we'll see.
See how it goes.
I'm assuming they're getting nerfed. If they don't get nerfed, we can all rage quit.
Oh, sure. Yeah, definitely.
But they must
They
get
must
nerfed.
be.
They must get nerfed.
It's been said
Yeah.
in the last Meta Watch that
Yeah.
Colts and
I'll be amazed.
Commanders are getting nerfed.
I'll be
Yeah.
amazed for them.
Finally, because I'm getting tired, we have Matthew Paul. What do you think about Kaskin using elite points for armor saves? Same rules as shooting, just apply the defense to.
It's an interesting one.
I'm okay with it because you are then using your elite points for
Finite
something
resource.
else.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's a finite resource we gave you. It's not, you know, in a similar way to CP. Certainly, I found the few times I've played Kassakin, I feel like I have loads of elite points, but you go through them real fast.
Yeah.
Actually. So, yeah.
So I had so I agree. I think it's a cool idea. Again, I hope it doesn't have unintended consequences. I had one idea for complete basically rework for elite points. I love the idea of elite points.
Yeah.
I think how it works is probably wrong.
Okay.
It needs to be more like faith points for novitiates.
Okay.
A big load of options cost different things. So do a free mission action cost you 2. Like retainer, whatever is this. Reroll 1 dice is 1. Like, and give them loads and loads of options. Like do a free fight, free shoot.
Yeah.
Like whatever it is, cost you 2 or 3 maybe. Change an option one to conceal.
Yeah.
Cost you 4, and you can have like a big list of options that are like these very, very specialist, quick things that they do.
Yeah, yeah.
But as you say, finite resource.
Sure.
So you get punished the more you use it, so you can't go crazy.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. That would help them, I think, with a lot of things.
That's a big rework.
That's me rework on.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Cool. Okay. I think we're done, really. Major Tom just gets in, say evening all.
Evening.
I just feel
Well
so
timed.
bad when I say, okay, I'm off, and then somebody comes in, hi guys, what's up?
Well, you can probably re-watch all of it shortly. When
Yeah, it's all available to re-watch, and you can pretend that every time I say a name, I'm saying your name. There you go. I give you permission to think that, Tom. His name's not Tom, but it's fine. Yeah, do we have anything else to say? Obviously, you want to plug your channel, Turning Point Tactics. If you're this far in the video, you know him. Let's be clear.
We have various options. Yeah, so but what actually one thing I will plug is the link tree. So what I think is really useful, I think, is I've made a link tree which has all of the major products on there that you might want. So it's got obviously my Patreon, but like the Lonely Fans. Yeah. It's got Wahapedia, Kill Team Calculator. Anytime I find something useful to Kill Team, I go, people probably want that. I put it in there, like the FAQ, the erratas, the balance data slate. So it's all in one place, and on there also you can find all my socials and links, which is quite useful. So feel free to go and use that. I got my map packs as well, so
and the map packs.
Hopefully that's useful for people, and it stops you have to search the internet trying to find something. Yeah, it's all in one place. That's my plug.
Definitely, certainly. You know, I've been using your map packs for the last year, essentially. So, yeah, great things. Means I don't have to worry about have I set this board up right. It's like, nope, somebody else has done it. And so I almost don't even care. And
someone else can take the heat for when when it doesn't play the way you want it to play.
That's right. I'll say, oh, I lost. It's the terrain. It's the terrain. It's the terrain and my dice.
Terrain and dice. Blame
That's
terrain
all it
and
was.
dice.
Cool. Everybody, thank you so much for jumping in. Watch my channel too. There you go. I feel that goes without saying. I do have a Patreon. Really, I view it as a tip jar, but I do give you extra videos, like unboxing sort of thing. And at certain tiers, there's also like free digital goodies. No, you've paid for them to get to that tier. Sorry, they're digital goodies. Yeah. You can pay me, and I give you stuff. So there you go. And of course, if you made it to the end of the video, I'd like to give you a big triple hello. I forgot to do that with her, but
so
no,
wholesome.
It's fine. Yeah. So wholesome. The wholesomeness knows no bounds. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you very much. Keep enjoying Kill Team. Go check out Ryan from Turning Point Tactics as well. Bye.
See ya.